Before the MCU, there was Marvel animated features.
Okay. In 2004, Marvel and Lionsgate got together and got a little freaky. With their powers combined, they made Marvel animated features. Now this was a series of films, 8 films to be exact, that were all animated, all Marvel related, and were all awesome. I feel like for a lot of you watching, this was your childhood, and trust me when I tell you, you must have had a great one like I did, and my childhood is the only one that matters. And I know what you're thinking. Mauricio, why should I care? I'm having a great time outside. Why should I spend 2 hours watching a video about these movies, you know? Well, here's the thing, like Optimus Prime said, this was before the MCU. This movie had really important people involved, like Avi Arad, who really pushed for Marvel animation. You have Guy Michelmore, who composed the tracks for all 8 movies. He then went on to compose shows like Earth's Mightiest Heroes. And then there's Greg Weisman's involvement, which leads into the connections between Hulk vs. Wolverine, with Wolverine and the X-Men, with Earth's Mightiest Heroes, it goes on. And Next Avengers became huge, and you see these characters show up in Marvel Comics. So trust me when I tell you, these movies influenced so much Marvel culture, and also not just that, it seems they influenced the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. Also, obviously, there's no coffee in this mug. These movies are crazy important to me and so many other people, and I spent years of my life documenting them, and now, here they all are, all at once, for you to enjoy. So let's start talking about the first movie, Ultimate Avengers.
My only regret is that I couldn't see you one last time. We will meet again. In this life, or the next. Love, Steve.
At the time, we had Spider-Man 2 had just come out, the X-Men movies were thriving, but what about the rest of these superhero characters that fans adore? Captain America, Iron Man. An Avengers movie in concept is a great introduction to the Marvel Universe, because in just assembling the Avengers, you already get a bunch of history for multiple characters, and you have to expand on the world for them to be able to work together. Now let me tell you 2 things that are crazy. 1, they adapted The Ultimates by Mark Millar, which is easily one of the worst comics I've ever read. And 2, the second crazy thing is that the first animated feature, Ultimate Avengers, and its sequel, Ultimate Avengers, guess what? 2, surprisingly and almost scarily, feel like they inspired both the Avengers and to a lesser extent, Avengers Age of Ultron. The thing is that the Avengers takes a lot from the Ultimates, but there are some things in Ultimate Avengers that feel very much like direct translations to Marvel's The Avengers 2012. And of course, this is due to the MCU Avengers movie taking a lot from the Ultimates, but at the same time, the Ultimates handles something so wonkily that it almost feels like the movie was more inspired by this animated feature than anything else. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about Ultimate Avengers. This thing made my childhood. This was the gateway for my 5-year-old self to understand and learn about these characters. This is Ultimate Avengers. Just kidding. This is a sponsor segment. Hey boys, hey men, are you tired of boring rings? Are you tired of seeing a ring and going, you want a dope ring you can express yourself with? Well, look no further than Gentle Bands. Look at it, isn't it awesome? Look at it, it's friggin' sick, dude. Look at it. Since 2017, Gentle Bands has been exploring unconventional materials to forge a ring that truly expresses your unique style. That's right, you, and that includes me too. Check out this ring I got, the Black Panther. And yes, that is the Black Panther you're thinking about. If you don't believe me, go to the product page. It's made of tungsten, one of the world's most enduring metals, and it has meteorite fragments in it. They hold a unique and captivating history of traversing through space before landing on Earth, adding a meaningful touch to each ring. Look at how cool this presentation is, the package is super cool, and they offer free engraving service at this moment too. And Gentle Bands collaborates with seasoned and talented artisans from family-owned workshops. Every ring is gonna come out as badass and awesome as you'd expect. And this ring makes a perfect gift, be it an anniversary, a holiday, a birthday, or a wedding band. So if you want a ring like this, use code Browntable at Gentle Bands to get 25% off, or use the link in the description. Thank you, Gentle Bands, for sponsoring this video. We're back! Ultimate Avengers. How do you start this movie? Well, it starts exactly like the Ultimates comic did. It starts with a good old-fashioned war sequence that has Captain America and the US Army going up against literal Nazis, and it freaking rules, man. It has the tone that I wish the third act of Captain America the First Avenger had. Like, right from the get-go, it feels like these people are going just to die. I don't know why I'm talking about Captain America the First Avenger right now. I'm just saying, this is handled extremely well. It gives Captain America almost this legendary, mysterious status.
So they got a super weapon. We got one too.
You mean that poster boy for the recruitment office? He's gonna die down there just like the rest of us.
Where's your super soldier, Barnes? We're getting blown to pieces!
Like, is he actually just a poster boy, or is he an actual super soldier and leader that can go up against literal Nazis and kick their asses? And the truth is, yes, he is the second thing. Captain America shows up riling up the troops, and it's great. It's so great, actually, up until you realize that they're not just fighting Nazis. They're fighting Nazi aliens. Yeah, man, let me say that again so it hits you better. They're fighting Nazi aliens.
Oh my god.
The Avengers fight the Chitauri in this movie, just like, you know, in the movie Marvel's Avengers. And in this interpretation, like in the Ultimates comic, they are Nazi aliens. Mark Miller, you're nuts, man. You're nuts. But yeah, Captain America stops a bomb, he's blasted into the water, and he freezes, and he's stuck there for years, up until he's finally digged out by, guess who? Nick Fury.
Well, I'll be damned.
The entire sequence where Captain America wakes up plays out exactly like in Captain America the First Avenger. Well, not exactly, but it's very, very similar, particularly the ending.
A lot has changed, son.
Did we win?
No. The main thing this movie gets particularly right is the characterization of its characters, specifically Captain America. Captain America is portrayed beautifully, and I think he's portrayed better here than in the MCU Avengers movie, because this movie actually makes him feel like a man out of time. Captain America the First Avenger does not explore him being in the modern world, and in the Avengers movie, it also does not explore him being in the modern world. It is explored in deleted scenes, but even those deleted scenes are not as good as the undeleted scenes that are present in this movie. There's not only an entire sequence where Cap meets up with Bucky, who in this universe isn't the Winter Soldier and he's just aged gracefully along with his wife, Gale, who is actually Steve's long-lost love. Yeah, it's not Peggy Carter in this movie, and not just that. The movie surprisingly lets the audience breathe, and has a whole scene where Captain America pays his respects to his fallen comrades. This movie has some unique moments that I wish were present in the live-action movies. Instead of going into Iron Man or Hulk or Thor, let's talk about Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. I really love this interpretation of Hank and Janet because while they do have their issues, they clearly do love each other. And it's not like in the comics where in the original he just beats the shit out of Janet, and it's not like in the Ultimate Comics where he beats the shit out of Janet. Oh wait, I forgot. In the Ultimate Comics, he doesn't just beat up Janet. He has ants try to eat her. Ant-Man, get it? Haha. Fuck. This movie is basically if they made the Ultimates readable. It's like the writers of this movie went, oh, these are beloved characters. Let's not make them pieces of shit. And it works because the groundwork, the basic groundwork of the Ultimates is really good. And so if it's refined and the characters aren't written like assholes and are written as characters that you can actually root for, then it becomes an engaging story. And no wonder that the MCU took similar aspects from the Ultimates and changed it up, and again, I feel they took aspects of Ultimate Avengers and changed it up to fit their narrative. Anyways, a good difference between the Ultimate Avengers movie and the MCU Avengers is that Nick Fury is actually reluctant to assemble the Avengers. Kind of like in the Avengers movie where Nick Fury's plan B is to create Hydra weapons.
Phase 2 is S.H.I.E.L.D. uses the cube to make weapons.
My super soldier program
has yet to yield results. Begin recruitment efforts immediately.
In this movie, that's his plan A, but it's not Hydra weapons, it's to replicate the super soldier serum to create an army of super soldiers to combat an alien threat, the Chitauri. I wonder if the closed captions of this video are gonna translate Chitauri into Shitari? Like a shitty Atari. Anyways, a lot of things this movie gets right are the assembling of the Avengers. The Avengers are assembled one by one, kind of like the first act of the MCU's Avengers, but this actually takes the entire first and second acts. And the Avengers are extremely reluctant. They don't want to join. It takes them a while to join. Thor doesn't join up until the end. In this interpretation, they actually don't know if he's the actual Norse god Thor, or if he's just some crazy dude with a magic hammer. He's also an activist, and he's just a great character in these movies.
So what do you say?
This. And this.
And then there's Iron Man, and I'm not super sure if Iron Man is a secret identity in the Ultimates universe, but in this movie it is. Tony Stark has a secret alter ego, and that's Iron Man, and it's eventually discovered in the movie, and it's this whole thing, and it's a great reveal because nobody fucking knows this, and everyone's kind of been shit-talking Tony Stark for the whole movie.
Tony will just backburner us for the next 12 months.
I don't know how you guys put up with that arrogant jerk.
All the characters are on point, none of them really work together very well, they have to fail before they can finally understand how to work as a team. And guess who they fight? Guess. Not only do they fight the Chitauri and they assemble as the Avengers, they also fight the Hulk! The Hulk is also an adversary in this movie. And it's not like the Ultimates comic, by the way, where it's a really shitty reason. They're like, what do we do as the Avengers? Oh, we have to fight something. Have them fight the Hulk so everyone knows who the Avengers is and they have someone to fight. In this movie, Bruce Banner is desperately trying to find a way to cure the Hulk, and if not, then at least control him. The characterization for Bruce Banner is actually extremely excellent in this movie, and it's almost a little anti-hero-ish. And I quite like that. It makes Bruce Banner feel very troubled, conflicted, and against the world, like his character has been many times in the comics. And in the movie, unlike the Ultimates comic, he's not a piece of shit, he's genuinely trying to do good. And he goes against orders, becoming the Hulk, but actually controlling him up until the point where he can't. And seeing his relationship with Betty Ross, how strained that is, compared to the Ultimates, where again, everyone's a terrible person in the Ultimates, and she is no different. But in this movie, she genuinely cares and just wants to do right by him, but is honestly scared of the Hulk as anyone should be. But she also knows her responsibility to him in a way because she's the only one that can calm him down. That's actually one of the ways they can defeat the Hulk in the end when the Hulk and the rest of the Avengers destroy the Chitauri.
What is she doing? He'll kill her!
No, he won't. She's trying to calm him down so he won't burn through the sedative.
Now, the entire final battle between the Hulk and the Ultimate Avengers is fucking excellent. This shit defined me as a kid, man. I was like, oh my god, the Hulk is fucking crazy, dude.
Hey, we're not finished yet.
Not only does he lift Thor's hammer with pure strength, which by the way, I feel he shouldn't do. I think that's wrong. But yeah, in this movie, he fucking lifts it and he starts beating the shit out of Thor with it. Holy crap, bro. And the Avengers, to fight the Hulk, get absolutely shredded, man. They get so fucking wrecked. The Hulk, I think, pretty much breaks the shit out of Hank Pym's knee. I don't think the fucking MCU had Captain America this fucked up in the first Avengers movie. Like, goddamn, bro. There were a lot of creative liberties taken in this movie, thankfully, at least story-wise. But visually, this movie pretty much replicates the Ultimates comic really well, and I really like that because visually, the Ultimates comic is great.
As with any adaptation, you know, we have to take liberties in order to tell a story that works well. But we stuck closely in many areas.
There were beautiful moments throughout the comics. Whenever we could take a panel or a scene in its entirety or just for a moment, we tried to include it. Because again, even Variety said at one point, this is the greatest film that'll never be made.
My dearest Gail, my only regret is that I couldn't see you one last time.
But what was most important wasn't just getting every shot, it was making sure that it stayed true to the original work that was created. People who see this will feel the way they did when they read the book. They'll be moved in those same ways. And I think they'll be getting the kinds of characters that they enjoyed in the original series.
At the time, creating something of this scale, of a movie like The Avengers, was just not something that was feasible. It wasn't something that could be thought of. Like, no one making this movie would ever think that the Avengers would be facing off against the Chitauri only like, what, less than a decade later? But it happened, and I'm glad it did, but I'm also glad that this movie exists.
Ultimate Avengers was a unique opportunity for us to be able to get Captain America and Iron Man and Thor and Black Widow and Ant-Man and Wasp and Nick Fury and all these characters in one movie.
I have a genuine appreciation for animation. There's things in animation that you can't do in live action, and this movie feels like comic book characters truly come to life because they are illustrated.
Hand-drawn animation is able to capture those subtle moments and gestures and movements and expressions that captivate audiences. It's been doing that since people wept at Snow White.
They are drawn, it isn't CG, it feels like they were ripped directly out of the pages, and it works really well. I remember watching this movie, Ultimate Avengers, and it kind of defining how I drew characters, how I interpreted characters. This movie takes everything good about the Avengers comics, this movie takes everything good about the Ultimates comics, and combines them into truly making, yeah, you guessed it, the Ultimate Avengers. You know how I said that Ultimate Avengers is super similar to basically the entirety of Phase 1 of the MCU, especially the Avengers? Yeah, Ultimate Avengers 2 is kind of like Infinity War, Civil War, and Age of Ultron kind of put into one. With sprinkles of Iron Man 2 in there, it's kind of funny. It's actually not even funny, it's fucking crazy. It feels like I'm watching every single MCU movie at the same time. And I feel like some people may not know what these animated Marvel features are. And they honestly used to be pretty freaking huge back in the day. This is gonna make me feel old. I feel like some people don't know what these animated features are. Some people grew up with the MCU, but I grew up with this, you know? This was like 2005, and this was my jam. Ultimate Avengers released in February 2006, and its sequel released in August, and by November, both had sold over 1.5 million units. They were in the top 10 children's releases of the year. Marvel Animation? No laughing matter. That being said, the movie wasn't that well reviewed? It wasn't critically received that well, and to be honest, I enjoyed this movie a lot when I was little. Watching it now, it's still fun, but I get where they're coming from. Now, if you watched it when you were little, get ready for a punch of nostalgia because this is Ultimate Avengers 2. Can I just say, the music in this movie, fucking awesome. The movie begins in Wakanda. It's being attacked by the Chitauri, led by, yeah, you guessed it, Kaiser, the Nazi villain Captain America killed in the first movie. Yeah, Nazi aliens, the most insane plot point on the planet, is back, and 4 minutes in, King T'Chaka is dead. I'm not fucking joking when I say they mean business in this movie. I will say, the most awful shit is that King T'Chaka sacrifices his life by just chucking himself and Kaiser off this cliff to their death, and Kaiser walks it off like an absolute menace, dude. Now here's something else that's crazy. I know this has been a lot. We just started. It's like 4 minutes in. Black Panther in this universe can turn into an actual fucking panther. Furries? Is this your king? It's a bummer because the movies don't do this. In the movies, they don't turn into panthers and back and forth. Oh wait, as T'Challa becomes the Black Panther to the dismay of the elders of Wakanda, Captain America is kicking ass back in the US of A, but he's kind of losing it. Steve is lost, trying to figure out his place in the world. This time isn't his. All he knows, really, is how to be a soldier, and he's good at that, so he keeps doing it, but he's letting himself get in such danger that he could die, he could get killed.
You want to be back on ice? Is that it? Because that's where you're headed. Feet first with a toe tag.
And as soon as he's having the most pleasant dream of all time, he finds the Black Panther in his room and starts to fight him. Because let's be honest, unless it's a kawaii anime cat girl, having a fucking cat person in your room is nightmare fuel. So they both fight inside and out the building until they're surrounded by a bunch of soldiers with guns. Very cool. And T'Challa, bless his heart, uber activates Steve's PTSD because he tells him that Kaiser is still alive.
There's nothing you can tell me.
And because of this, Nick Fury's like, oh, alright, fine. Let's assemble the Ultimate Avengers. 2. Rise of the Panther. So let's just go through this quick. Bruce Banner is locked up in a glass prison created for the Hulk.
It's an impressive cage. Not built, I think, for me.
Anyways, he's obviously in there because he went AWOL in the first movie. Hank and Janet are testing increasing how much Giant Man can grow, and because Janet aborts the test to prevent Hank from, well, dying, he throws a hissy fit. Hank is such a dick in these movies, man. And lastly, Tony is hiking up mountains, and he is having the chillest time. Dude is not breaking a sweat until he starts dying. Oh my god, my arc reactor isn't saving me. Let me open it up, replace a part, and reboot it so I can live. They get some shit from the comics, so like I said, it feels like watching every MCU movie at the same time. And then of course, we cut to Tony getting visions of the Avengers all dead in a horrid, nightmare-esque scenario. Oh wait, no. No, we get Thor getting visions of the Avengers all dead in a horrid, nightmare-esque scenario. My bad. So we find out that Chitauri actually want the meteor full of vibranium in Wakanda, as the Avengers get ready to fly over the closed-off country, and T'Challa is in mourning. As the Avengers explore Wakanda, Steve and Tony have this conversation where Tony admits he's not the self-sacrificing type of guy.
You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you. I think I would just cut the wire.
You got the guts, I go for the glory. I'm not interested in posthumous awards.
Tony recognizes Cap's bravery and he's like, yeah, you do you. I don't know if I would risk my life to save people though. Tony saying this is really interesting actually. Because if you remember, we've already seen him doing what he can to prevent himself from dying earlier in the movie. Cap gets invited into Wakanda by T'Challa, and only Cap, because T'Challa's like, alright, I'm only accepting you because we've bonded over our hatred of Nazis. So Panther shows Cap this Chitauri ship, which was blown up in the 40s, and he reveals that actually Kaiser? I was about to say Kaiser, like the university, like Kaiser University. This is not a sponsor for Kaiser University, if that's even your real name. Oh god, it is Kaiser University. If Kaiser University existed, that'd be like a Nazi university. That'd be really bad. So Wakanda actually met Kaiser, and they stopped allying themselves with him when they realized that he was a fucking Nazi. As this is happening, the Avengers are fighting the Wakandans. You know how people are always like, Marvel humor is something crazy happens and then a character goes, well, that just happened. Yeah, that happens in this movie.
Well, that's embarrassing.
Truly ahead of its time. Speaking of ahead of its time, Thor goes to a sacred place where he interacts with water to get a vision of what's to come. Thor sees that incoming invasion and Odin is like, no, son. We hate human beings. No, father. What the fuck accent was that? Actually, Dad, I'm in my rebellious mood, and he just dips out of there. I don't know why I gave Thor that voice. Thor sees the incoming Chitauri invasion and goes to help the Avengers. Captain America sees a Chitauri in Wakanda and flies out to stop it, and man, Hank basically goes, oh, if he wants to die, he can go die. And Janet hears this and she's like, no, I ain't dating no beta anymore.
I'm done massaging your ego. I'm done defending you to everyone. And I'm done supporting you.
Yes, go off, sis. Their relationship is doomed. To make matters worse, the elders finally have an excuse to tell T'Challa to fuck off. He brought in outsiders, specifically Captain America, and that's a no-go. After this, he spots the Chitauri, and he goes off to stop it. So Cap and Panther are now with the Chitauri, and they think, okay, we should take him to the SHIELD ship. There's probably way better torture devices in there. But Captain America is a dumb bitch that doesn't think in this movie, because surprise, surprise, it's fucking Kaiser. This actually caught me by surprise. I actually really like this twist. That wasn't Black Panther, that was Kaiser the whole time. Cap put literally everyone on the ship at risk, and Janet gets fucking shot. You think it's bad? This is an Avengers movie. It gets worse. The now looming Chitauri ship shoots out a freaking Death Star beam, which decimates the Avengers ship. They should be dead, but they're not. It's called Ultimate Avengers, not Ultimate Dead Planet. The Chitauri ship shoots out this energy beam, which encompasses and covers the entire planet Earth. All hope seems lost, but as we all know, that's when the Avengers work best. Iron Man calls in Rhodey, War Machine. Oh, wait, what's that? Tony Stark. Tony Stark is War Machine? Okay. Alright. So Iron Man pulls up in a War Machine suit. Bruce discovers that gamma radiation weakens vibranium, which would help stop the Chitauri. Wakanda pulls up against Chitauri AT-AT walkers. And Hank apologizes to Janet when he realizes what he is without her.
I'm going to make things right, Jan. I promise.
I'll be honest, despite the movie at times moving kinda slow, the more dramatic character interactions are just so juicy. I love them so much. T'Challa asks for help from the outside world to the Elders' dismay, and the final battle takes place with Black Panther and the people of Wakanda with the Avengers fighting against alien forces. First, let me simp, then I'll simp. If I'm gonna simp, Janet Van Dyne. Oh! She is so fine. Oh my god, dude. When I was 7, watching this, oh my god. That was my awakening. I think this movie was me going, women are kind of fine. Now let me simp for Captain America. This dude, he is so dope. He is the most badass dude. This movie made me a Captain America fan. Dude spits out one-liners, dude kicks ass, and he sounds dope as hell. Justin Gross? More like Justin Clean. Fuck, that's so bad. What if his name is Justin Gross? Justin Gross, more like Justin Clean. Dude is not gross at all. Justin Clean, cause he's not gross at all. Not Justin Gross. Justin Clean. My best joke, ladies and gentlemen. Also, Bruce Banner dies. I love you. He dies. So here's the story so far. As Captain America and Black Panther are fighting Kaiser, Thor, Iron Man, or is it War Machine now? I don't know. And Giant Man, who has turned small, are going up to the Chitauri mothership to destroy it with gamma radiation. I saw a review about this movie that was like, it's too violent for kids, but it's not mature enough for adults. And I kind of agree. Being someone that can enjoy movies aimed at kids and movies aimed at adults and movies for general audiences, it doesn't really affect me. I can just watch whatever. But I understand where this is coming from because holy shit, this is so fucking violent. Black Panther gets shot, Steve gets stabbed, and dude, Kaiser gets torn to shreds, man. Let's fucking go. Nazi-hating icons, we stan. Also, Bruce Banner isn't dead. It's a pretty boring subplot. He's just alive. So Steve and T'Challa successfully defeat Kaiser by encasing him in liquid vibranium. Tony and Hank go to destroy the Chitauri ship, and they start plummeting to Earth. They blew up the Chitauri ship, and now Iron Man is plummeting to Earth. And look, Hank got shot at, beaten up, blown up like 3 times. He's dead. Hank Pym is fucking dead. I remember seeing this scene when I was a little kid, and I was like,
look how they massacred my boy.
But it's a really well done moment, and, you know, his arc was honestly really solid, and that's how it comes to a close. And speaking of arcs coming to a close, Tony has to stop a piece of the Chitauri ship from plummeting to Earth, destroying the city of Wakanda.
I think I can deflect it.
But can you survive that?
If not, I'll take that posthumous award.
And so Tony flies up and he's able to prevent the debris from destroying the city, but he crashes. He falls to the ground, absolutely fucked up, damn. This shot though?
I was looking through some old photos and it looks very, similar.
Wicked. But yeah, Thor revives Tony and Thor is able to prevent his vision from coming true, so that's the end of his arc. And yeah, the Avengers saved the day. Nearly the whole movie has been just really closed off while Black Widow has been trying her best to take care of Steve. And in the end, they fall in love and they make out, and that's the end of their stories. As the movie comes to a close, I'll be honest, I actually really like the ending, because it's very bittersweet. Like, even Thor is sad, and it's just really great to feel the victory, but feel the loss, too. It's just a really nice finale all the way around. So which is better, Ultimate Avengers 1 or Ultimate Avengers 2? I don't know. Are they peak cinema? Hell no. Are they even amazing? No. But they're solid, fun watches, and I appreciate them for introducing me to the world of Marvel Comics. I'll always love them for that. Do you remember that movie? The one where Tony Stark is blown up, captured by terrorists, and is put in a cave where a kind old man saves his life, and then escapes with an Iron Man suit, defeating these villains and then having to fight another big bad, which, surprise, surprise, was someone he trusted? Yeah, that movie was pretty trash, huh? Whoa, why are you booing me? Don't you remember? The movie where Tony Stark is blown up, captured by terrorists, put in a cave where an old dude saves his life. He then escapes with an Iron Man suit, defeats the villains, and then has to fight someone he trusts. I'm not talking about Iron Man 2008, I'm talking about Iron Man 2007. To be more specific, the Invincible Iron Man, which released in 2007 and is the third Lionsgate Marvel collaboration. I remember enjoying the heck out of this movie. I have 2 memories of it. 1. Lee May in this movie? I had the biggest crush on her. So thank you so much, Marvel, for making her fight naked at the end. Second thing I remember, I'm pretty sure I've told this story before. When I was little, I went to Circuit City, which at the time had stores everywhere. It's like gone now. I pre-ordered the MCU Iron Man movie. And now, at the time, I didn't really know what pre-order really meant, or at least my dad definitely didn't know upon pre-ordering the movie. And so they gave us this DVD box set of Iron Man. And when we opened it, it wasn't Iron Man. So yeah, they gave me the Invincible Iron Man DVD as a pre-order bonus for pre-ordering the live-action Iron Man. And sadly, I already had the Invincible Iron Man DVD at home. I was very sad. That being said, even though it wasn't the live-action Iron Man, I had watched it in theaters and I hadn't seen the animated one in a while. So I still put it in and I watched it and I remember pretty much enjoying it. But the biggest thing I remember is that I always skipped to all the Iron Man parts. Because of course, Iron Man cool. But I remember it being the Marvel animated feature I rewatched the least. Yeah, so I watched this movie again and it's mid. I could even say it's bad. And now hold on. If you're gonna sit there and tell me it's a good movie, it's a good movie, I know you haven't seen the movie in like 10 years, Kyle, so sit down, watch it again, and then come back to me. The movie has its moments, but it is so slow, and it looks so bad. The CG in this movie, why did they do this? So let's go over the Invincible Iron Man and find out just what the hell happened with this movie. What I will say right off the bat, firstly, this movie is eerily similar to Iron Man 2008 at times. Which, you know, makes sense because it's the character's origin, but I don't know if Favreau watched this before making the live action one, because damn. And also, this movie's probably closer at adapting the comics than the live-action film. Yeah, I know Obadiah Stane, the Ironmonger, is in the comics, but this one has the Mandarin. It is Wong Chu, too, which is someone Iron Man actually faces off in the comics. It's pretty dope. The second thing I want to say about this movie is that the score, absolute fire. Guy Mitchell-Moore not only did the soundtracks for the Marvel's Lionsgate movies, I think either most of them or all of them. I'd have to verify. But I do know for a fact that he also composed Earth's Mightiest Heroes, because he reuses cues from the Iron Man theme he composed for these movies. And it unwillingly kind of makes all of Marvel animation from the 2000s feel kinda unified in a way. It was honestly really, really cool. And then came Disney and they homogenized everything and it went to shit, but still. This was a really good time for Marvel. That being said, this movie's not very good. The movie begins with an excavation going on in China. Rhodey is the guy in charge of excavating this ancient city ruled by the Mandarin from under the ground. And this is all being funded by Stark Enterprises. And there's this group called the J-Dragons, and they want to prevent the city from being brought back. Now let me say this one thing, you may think this is going one way, it isn't. Now Tony Stark is bathing with this fine lady and he's called by Rhodey. He's like, dude, I'm in the middle of something, quite literally. And Rhodey's like, no dude, we're getting attacked by the J-Dragons, we need support, that's why you sent those Stark weapons, right? And Tony's like, bro, no, I didn't send any weapons, what the hell are you talking about? Give me 1 second, I'm gonna go back to banging this woman. Typical Playboy Tony Stark, I'm so excited to see his character arc. I'm really excited to see him become Iron Man.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
So Tony goes to meet with the shareholders of Stark Industries and they literally kick him out because he's wasting money on a secret project. And yeah, this secret project is costing a lot of money. So he's Iron Man already. Also wait, Howard is alive? Yeah, Howard Stark is straight up alive in this movie. And listen, if this is all sounding super boring, if you're like, this movie kind of fucking sucks, man, I just want to click off this video. Imagine how I felt. This movie is so boring. It's so boring. It gets better, I promise. It doesn't get better, but I'll make it funnier.
You will try.
The biggest issue as to why this is boring is because it's hard to attach yourself to any character, even Tony Stark, because surprise, surprise, Tony Stark has no real toxic traits in this movie. He's already a pretty flawless guy, which means that once Tony Stark reaches China and gets attacked and captured by the J-Dragons along with Rhodey, there is no flaw to fix. There is no character growth to be developed. He's just the good guy that gets captured. Now look, Iron Man 2008 is peak. It's a phenomenal superhero movie. I dream about Iron Man's iron rod every night. CJ, cut that out of the video. Now, I'm not expecting this animated movie to hit even close to that, but at least give me something. This movie's been so boring so far. Throw me a bone. But thankfully they throw it. Pretty much like Iron Man 2008, Tony is stuck in a cave
with a box of scraps!
His heart gets messed up, but he's healed by Yinsen, who's a really nice guy. We love Yinsen, though unlike the live action movie where he sacrifices himself, Yinsen here just gets shot. You don't understand how shocked I was because the dude just straight up dies out of nowhere. And I was just like, oh shit, oh okay, he's just gone from the movie. He had magic powers. The magic powers couldn't stop a bullet. And honestly, I feel like it's a fair reaction to have, given that Yinsen is basically Tony's Uncle Ben in the MCU.
Don't waste it. Don't waste your life.
So far everything's been happening, but there's no real, like, emotion behind it. It's honestly kind of sad. Now, the Jade Dragons want Tony to lower the city because they believe that terrible things will come from it being risen. And they're right. So Tony, of course, wastes all their resources to build a suit. It's called Iron Man for a reason. And it's like, wow, okay, so he built an Iron Man suit. That's cool. Fuck being a part of Stark Industries. With virtually nothing, he can help people on his own as a superhero, right? Wrong. Tony Stark already is Iron Man. He already has a hall of armor. So basically, it's like if Peter Parker was already a good guy superhero when Uncle Ben got shot. There's no catalyst for change. He's already good from the start. I got ahead of myself with the whole hall of armor thing. Let me backtrack a little bit. So Tony and Rhodey escape along with the help of Li Mei, who seems to be the only member of the Jade Dragons helping them. See, Li Mei is destined to be connected to the Mandarin because she has a dragon tattoo on her wrist. Don't question it. And when she sees Iron Man flying out of the Jade Dragon Cave, we're shown this prophecy where a man in an iron suit fights the Mandarin, and the Iron Knight looks exactly like Iron Man. How this prophecy even makes sense? I don't know. Don't even question it. Once Tony and Rhodey get back to the US though, S.H.I.E.L.D., yes, S.H.I.E.L.D. is also in this movie. The coincidences are insane. S.H.I.E.L.D. attempts to arrest Tony and Rhodey because they believe that Stark weapons are being used by the Jade Dragons, the group that's connected to the Mandarin. Like how in Iron Man 2008, the 10 Rings use Stark weapons as well, and that's a group that's connected to the Mandarin. There's a lot of similarities and it's kind of wild. Like this is Ultimate Avengers 2, and now Invincible Iron Man. I get that it's supposed to be similar to the comics and obviously they're gonna take things from there, but there are certain other things that are just really eerily similar, and it's a surprise. I'm gonna be honest, it's a surprise. It's not a bad thing. I just wouldn't be surprised if they watched these movies before writing the MCU ones. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, Tony and Rhodey are now fugitives, and tones clash so hard. These elementals awaken from the Mandarin's temple to recover the Mandarin's 10 rings. I mean 5. There's only 5 rings in this movie. Unless there's actually 10, because honestly, I was half asleep at this point. Anyways, as the elementals are fucking around, Tony Stark and Rhodey are in this gangster movie from the 70s, where they're evading the cops and hiding behind wooden crates. What the fuck is even happening anymore? Pepper helps Tony and Rhodey reach the Hall of Armor, and this is where the movie gets even worse. I know that sounds insane, because it's already pretty mid, but trust me when I tell you, it gets way worse than this. Because now, it's all plot and no story. Those are actually 2 different things. Iron Man has to track down the remaining 2 rings to prevent the elementals from resuscitating the Mandarin. But the elementals are mute monsters that serve as a physical obstacle. And since there's barely been any emotional obstacles in this movie, it is so boring. Rhodey at one point is mad at Tony for hiding the Hall of Armor from him because it means Tony didn't trust him. And then at some other point, Tony starts arguing with his dad about his mom. And after this argument, which ends on bad terms, Howard Stark suddenly becomes a good guy. And at the end of the movie, Tony gives Howard Stark control of Stark Enterprises, the guy that kicked Tony out of the company at the beginning of the movie. I know, I just spoiled the ending. I'm getting ahead of myself, but this is so ass. Alright, now, I pretty much saved all the Iron Man stuff for the latter half of the video around the end, and this is the reason why. It's because, oh my god, it is so bad. The Iron Man suits, they're designed well, sure, but the CG, the CG is so ugly. It's very dated. It doesn't look good. I'd rather them simplify the suits and hand draw it rather than them having done this, because they look like they came straight out of Code Lyoko. You remember Code Lyoko? This is hot ass. And what's worse is that the backgrounds and effects are still 2D. So we have these terribly, and I mean terribly composited sequences. It's so ugly. There's no way this got through, man. The animation is so slow. There's no impact at all, and it feels like they're desperately trying to make it so they follow the 2D backgrounds, and that limits what the 3D CG can do. It makes things look worse. And you know what? I would go in detail about like the story that happens when they fight, but like, whatever. He gets the rings or he doesn't get the rings, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, Li Mei is evil. Fuck you. The final ring is a bracelet. The 5th ring, it's a fucking bracelet. I'm not even following the script anymore. Fuck you. Fuck you, CJ, the editor. Li Mei is the bad guy. It's like an Obadiah Stane twist, but now it's a Mandarin twist. She is supposed to be the new vessel of the Mandarin. And so as she's resuscitating the Mandarin, Iron Man is fighting fucking Fin Fang Foom. You thought this movie was going crazy with the amount of characters? There's more. It's Fin Fang Foom the fucking dragon. They should have just called this movie Iron Man Dragon Tales. Fin Fang Foom? More like Fin Fang Coom. I'm running out of jokes. The dragon's defeated while Li Mei resurrects the Mandarin, and to do so, for some reason, resuscitating the Mandarin blows off her clothes? What? I don't care though. Something needed to attract my attention at this point. I was half asleep, so I'm not complaining. Oh, and by the way, fuck you, movie. Look at this cover. The cool suit. He only wears the red and gold suit for one scene in this movie. The volcano fight scene. At the end of the movie, where he fucking fights the final elemental and Fin Fang Foom and the Mandarin, it's with the ugly ass gray armor. Why? Why would you do this? What? That reminds me of another coinky dink, Iron Man 2008. At the end of the movie, Tony has to use the thing he built in the cave to fight the final boss, the arc reactor. But at least there, he got to use the cool suit. In this movie, the thing he takes from the cave to fight the big bad guy at the end isn't the little arc reactor, it's the whole fucking suit. And it's ugly. It's so ugly. You're fucking joking with this cover, Marvel. You cucked me. Is it because I didn't want Ant-Man 3 to be something I watched with my own retinas? Is it because I wanted to skip that movie and I'm going to? Anyways, Tony somehow convinces Li Mei to stop, even though she betrayed Tony and everything, and there's honestly no reason for her to do so. Like, she already proved that her destiny is already more important than literally anything, despite her reluctance. But yeah, she decides to stop and fucking drops into the oil? She's been covered in oil, I think, this entire time. I don't know why, but again, I'm not complaining. Someone at Marvel is a huge fan of Shakira, I guess. And anyways, Tony and Li Mei kiss. Yay! And then she dies. She pulls a Kylo Ren and fucking dies. Wow, ass. The movie ends with Tony being welcomed back into his company, and then he appoints Howard as the head of the company, and then Howard fires everyone from the company.
You're all fired.
And then the movie ends. So, what did we learn today? We learned that this movie sucked hot ass. Actually, no, it didn't, because that'd be too good. Hot ass is awesome. This movie sucked trash.
I'm the trash man.
Tony Stark did not change. Literally nobody changed, except Li Mei and Howard, and both changed only for the plot. There was literally nothing suggesting that Howard was a good person. And Li Mei's 180 was super lame. Sure, some stuff was fun. I love seeing pretty naked ladies, but Marvel, there's only so much attractive animated women can do for me. I would like to see a good story, please. And for a story about Iron Man, the man who had everything and almost died, who decided to dedicate his life for the goodness of others, this movie was not well executed at all. And ultimately, it kind of bums me out. Doctor Strange, a solid movie. The entire plot, you know, Stephen Strange, renowned surgeon, loses control of his car and messes up his hands. But then he finds new meaning and purpose because of it. And it's awesome. But what if I told you that this movie came out 9 years before the MCU one? And not only does MCU's Doctor Strange copy it a lot, but this animated movie, which runs less than 80 minutes long, is maybe better than the MCU movie. Now, I know what some of you are gonna say. Mauricio, I'm sick and tired of you bashing the MCU. I need you to stop shitting on my best friend Mickey Mouse and appreciate what the MCU has done. You know what? I'm out of here. Okay, now that they're gone. No, actually, jokes aside, this isn't me shitting on MCU Doctor Strange. I think this is just me finding catharsis by making a YouTube video. Because when I watched MCU Doctor Strange, I thought it was really good, but something was off, something was missing. And the thing is, this movie has that. The reason why I wasn't super into the MCU's Doctor Strange is because I had already seen the movie, and it was better. Except for the ending, and we'll get into that. So, let's talk about Lionsgate's Doctor Strange. So, Doctor Strange is the 4th Lionsgate animated movie about a Marvel property. This one released right after the Invincible Iron Man, which from all the movies I've seen, is the worst one so far. Now, my parents got me this movie because, you know, it has Marvel on it, but that doesn't mean that I really knew who Doctor Strange was. This is a B-list character, maybe even C-list. But like the good little consumer I was, no, I had to get this. And you know what? Thank God I did, because this movie goes ridiculously hard. This trumps Ultimate Avengers 1 and 2, and Invincible Iron Man makes animated Doctor Strange seem like the Godfather. The biggest reason why this movie is so goddamn peak is because this movie's completely, and I mean completely, character-driven. The whole journey is about Stephen Strange finally letting go of his trauma. Oh, the trauma of losing his hands, you mean? No, the trauma of losing his sister. Whoa, he has a sister?
We had a sister.
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest reason why this movie is so good. So the movie starts off with Baron Mordo, Wong, and a group of sorcerers defending New York, and more importantly, the Sanctum Sanctorum from this attack by a mystical creature. Not only does the battle go hard animation-wise, but Stephen Strange is in the area of the fight, and he can see all this is happening around him. And this is a big deal because Wong had cast a spell that prevents people from seeing all the crazy shit that's happening around them. Also, Spider-Man's in this movie. What, you don't believe me? F*** you.
Doctor Strange. Man, it's been chaos. Absolute chaos.
Yeah, that's Josh Keaton. Josh Keaton, if you're watching this, I love you.
I'm only here for rounds, Corey. Don't push me. I'm not in the mood.
So as we all know, Stephen Strange is a gifted surgeon, but he is an egotistical douche that is pretty much only looking for fame now. Does he care about people? Sure, but not more than his own reputation. And because he's such an ass, senior staff member Dr. Gina Atwater hates his guts, but also needs his help because kids are struggling with headaches and intense nightmares right now. Now here's something crazy. Again, the MCU movie took so f***ing much from this movie. Gina Atwater is basically the same character as Rachel McAdams' Christine Palmer in the MCU one. These two are colleagues that have tension because they're exes. Yeah, Stephen Strange does have game, but ending relationships, he's to blame. Yeah, I'm something of a lyricist myself. That was so f***ing lame, dude. Also, goddamn, watching all these Marvel animated features reminds me of all the childhood crushes I used to have. Gina Atwater was fine as hell. Anyways, horny aside, Steven checks on this little girl. Strange is like, okay, she's got a fucked up brain. It's an embolism. And Gina Atwater's like, no, she has a shit ton more. It's like polka dots in there. And then she opens the curtains, revealing the rest of the room filled with a bunch of comatose kids. And it's like, oh shit. These kids are so f***ing screwed, dude. Now Camille, the patient Steven was checking on, wakes up yelling. Her head is throbbing and she sees the face of a demon. Steven touches her and he sees this monster. And it's obviously Dormammu. And after this, Steven just shuts down and leaves. And Atwater's like, Steven, can you not run away for 2 seconds, you beta male? She tells him that he has to start giving back.
I am sick of this hospital feeding your monster ego.
It's time you start giving back.
And he seals himself off in his office. He doesn't even want to attempt to aid in whatever's going on with those kids because the same thing happened to someone he cared about. Reason number 1, this movie goes hard. Stephen Strange failed to save his sister's life, and she was his first patient. This simple thing completely destroys Stephen as a person. It's like his call to action, but he failed it. The guy is really sweet and caring. We see all this through flashbacks. He obviously studied to become a doctor because he wants to save people. But then it becomes about saving the person he cares about most. This is his purpose, and he cannot save her. And because of that, Stephen now has no purpose. He blames himself. So what's left? Well, use what you so desperately learned to save your sister to benefit yourself, and only yourself. Like, come on, you put so much time and energy into someone, and you failed, and it broke you. Why should you ever want to help others again without some sort of reward? And that's the biggest reason why Stephen Strange is who he is. He cannot let go of his sister's death, and this is the biggest reason as to why I believe this movie is better than the MCU version. Because sure, while there's less spectacle, while the MCU movie runs longer, this movie gets down to the nitty-gritty of why Stephen Strange is such a jackass. Why we should care about him becoming a better person. It's because we know he is a good person, he's just been through some serious shit. But for now in the movie, we only know that he had a sister and she passed away at some point. Stephen drives home after this, but because he touched the girl in the hospital, he's plagued by visions of Dormammu and sees hordes of ghost children in the street which freak him out. And so he swerves to avoid the kids and crashes his car, and this action ultimately costs him his hands. And listen, Doctor Strange awakens in the hospital, he sees his f***ed up hands, we get a montage that is exactly like the one in the MCU. The whole thing where he goes from doctor to doctor, freaking out about what to do, losing money over and over, and doctors say, yeah, there's nothing we can do. All sad like, that happens. And there's even a whole rainy day scene where he's depressed in his home.
What did they do?
Show it to me.
What did they do?
Show it to me now.
But you just love a sob story, don't you?
You think I had this coming, don't you?
This is the part where you leave.
Just go.
Two things I love from this. I love how he can't even put the payphone back correctly, and I also love how he tries to off himself. That sounded super morbid. Let me explain. It's like, okay, he's literally at the end of his rope. He has nothing else. It's over. He is hit rock bottom. And so when Wong saves his life and tells him about Kamar-Taj, it's like, wow, thank f***. And so, Stephen goes to Kamar-Taj, Batman Begins style. By the way, the music in this movie is composed by Guy Mitchell-Moore, and it has those samey vibes compared to, the Ultimate Avengers and a lot of other Marvel media in the 2000s. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, because it can sound like everything is connected, but it also makes everything sound samey. But let me just say, the Doctor Strange theme played on the piano, slowly, it's identical to the Amazing Spider-Man theme by James Horner. Once we get to Kamar-Taj with Atwater's help, we get reason number 2 that this movie goes hard. It actually feels like Doctor Strange grows as a person in Kamar-Taj, not just ability-wise. The moment Stephen arrives at Kamar-Taj, the Ancient One doesn't immediately show Stephen the mystic arts. He doesn't show shit. Unlike the fancy visuals of the MCU film, which of course are dope as hell, the movie decides to not give Stephen a reason to stay that's that simple. Like literally anyone would want to stay and be taught if they were shown all that fancy shit. The most he sees is the Ancient One floating. Stephen in this movie stays because he has genuinely nowhere to go, and he's literally told his hands cannot be fixed, only he can cure himself.
Please, I've tried everything.
No, you have not.
And he decides that this is better than nothing. So here's the sickest part, and probably the best part of the entire movie. Stephen spends every day destroying a wall. We can safely say Doctor Strange votes Democrat. The wall gets rebuilt every single day, which means he has to do the same thing over and over again. But as he does this, he's rewarded for his actions. So his room at first is empty, but he gets a bed and eventually he gets a warm bathtub. And it's really cool to see him grow physically and mentally. It's not this immediate, oh, okay, you're in? we're gonna immediately start doing magic. And that's the key of this movie. Before we can have Steven creating something new, we have to have Steven letting something go. Let go of something that is holding him back. I don't want to make this video too long, so let's just say, as all this is happening, we have the Dormammu side plot. So we have Baron Mordo, who's a capable fighter, but he's power hungry, and he's with Wong, who is the goat, and they're all fighting against Dormammu's creatures. Dormammu's getting stronger, he wants to get to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and the Ancient One is thinking about who's going to be the next Sorcerer Supreme and wield the Eye of Agamotto. And finally, Steven's had it. He's reached his limit. His hands, he's carrying rocks all the time. His hands are getting worse, dude.
When can I use these again?
This is not about your hands. It never has been.
And this is the crux of the film. This is Stephen Strange's journey about becoming a better man, and the way it's portrayed here is the best I've seen, I think.
No, listen to me. I'm a doctor. I need my hands.
No, you do not.
Now, this moment reminds me a lot of the MCU movie, where the Ancient One leaves Doctor Strange on the top of Mount Everest, because both of these scenes are about getting Steven to surrender to the impossible. To truly achieve what he wants, he has to accept a fact. The difference is that while in one movie he's just accepting that magic is real and his ego is holding him back, in the animated film, he has to accept the fact that his sister's death was out of his control, and that there was nothing he could do. See what I mean by completely different vibes? This scene literally makes me cry, man. No, not cry like, but like, it makes me tear up a lot. It's so fucking sad, because Steven goes to his sister and he's like,
now when you wake up, you'll feel a little groggy, but you'll be all better.
She never wakes up. It sucks. It's so sad. She never wakes up, she dies, and he's crying, and I'm crying. Everyone on the planet is crying because the world revolves around me. I'm the main character, obviously. And then the Ancient One appears, and fuck, man. He tells Steven that the literal wall that he's been destroying day after day is the physical representation of the wall that's been preventing him from conquering his trauma. A wall of guilt, if you will.
She died on my table.
Not all lives are destined to be saved. It was out of your hands.
So the Ancient One goes back to his body after projecting into Steven's mind, and we get this really adorable scene.
You helped him?
Just a little.
Bob the Builder? F you. Steven the Builder, bitch. Steven is cracked. Not cracked. Cracked at tearing down the wall. Day after day, he is adamant that he can tear it down, and once the Ancient One believes he's ready, he approaches Steven with the truth that the wall is only as big as he wants it to be. Essentially, live your truth, King. So dude pulls like a massive chunk of the wall with one hand.
Weight is meaningless.
And Steven's like, bro's flabbergasted. Steven has never really experienced anything super insane until now. Like, the projection, that can be like in his head. The Ancient One floating, a party trick. But this is something that he knows is heavy and is being pulled by this old-ass geezer. And Steven not experiencing anything insane until now makes this scene way more effective than a ton of the magic scenes in the live-action Doctor Strange movie. Because yeah, we don't get any trippy visual of Doctor Strange floating in space, but because Steven doesn't experience something that crazy that soon, the mere movement of a rock is 20 times more impressive. The Ancient One teaches Steven to accept the unacceptable, and you really feel like Steven's learning more than just, making his hand move in a circle. The Ancient One makes a sword out of nothing, and Steven can't see it as real, so he can't physically grasp it. But when the old dude cuts the rock with that shit, not the rock wall, then Steven perceives it as real and believes in it to the point where he can hold the sword. And you thought that shit was crazy? It gets more insane. The wall was never real. It wasn't meant to symbolize the mental block Steven had in his mind. It literally was the mental block manifesting itself into the real world. And now that Steven surpassed it, it's gone. Yeah, dude. Cinema, baby. All right, video's running long. I'm gonna speed through this. We're only like 40 minutes into the movie, and I don't want to kill CJ. Reason 3 this movie's cracked: the villain is awesome. Caecilius is a good villain on paper, but he's pretty weak. This movie doesn't want to save any villain for a sequel. Baron Mordo is in this movie and he is straight up the antagonist. We see him go from a brutal soldier to a treacherous fiend, and we see his descent play out and affect the story. Unlike how in the MCU, Baron Mordo became a villain in the after-credit scene of the first one, and after that has fought Doctor Strange off-screen. So Baron Mordo fights with Strange and tries to kill him because he believes the Ancient One is going to choose Strange as his successor, and he's right. And so Wong intervenes and teaches Strange. And let me just say, this fight, it's awesome.
Have you ever held a blade in your life? To save lives, yes, but not to take them.
I became a doctor to save lives, not take them.
It's not a coincidence. I know that it's like, oh, that Ultimate Avengers shot where Tony's down on the ground and he gets revived, that could be a coincidence. Dude, this is like the exact same line. People that worked on these movies worked on the MCU. This is a fact. But still, crazy. And how could I forget? Kevin Michael Richardson is the voice of Baron Mordo, and he absolutely nails it. As if this movie can't get any better. And the movie does get visually sexier because Doctor Strange appears. Like, not Stephen Strange with the big ass hair. He finally gets to shave, and bro is absolutely dripped the f out, my guy. Doctor Strange, more like Daddy Strange. He really went from, sir, can I pick up your daughter? Can I please? To, yeah, your daughter calls me daddy. Now, in the Sanctum Sanctorum, it's the nexus between realities, okay? We find out that Dormammu's trapped in there and he wants to get out. How is he gonna do that? Well, Dormammu's using the pure minds of children to get through to their dimension, via their dreams. Honestly, the plot kinda does go hard. How that is executed is, you know, but that's one of those things where it's like, it's good on paper, executed, it's alright. This is why so many children are comatose. So Steven returns to the hospital where Atwater is, and he makes her fall asleep and projects himself into the children's minds and wakes them up individually. As he does this, two things happen. One, flying pocket with teeth are killing all the sorcerers. And two, Baron Mordo decides, you know what? I've had it. He projects into a child's mind not to save them, but to communicate with Dormammu, stating that he wants to help him. And eventually, the Ancient One has to die because it's the Ancient One. You're old. But yeah, he destroys all the flying mouth monsters and Mordo finishes him off.
I see you have found your true place, Mordo, as the lapdog of Dormammu.
Now this is where the MCU Doctor Strange gets better compared to the animated one, because I think while the animated one's plot is just way better in terms of like this villain is using these children's minds to reconstruct himself and emerge into our dimension, I think that's such a sick plot. The MCU one is just way more exciting. Like, who can forget the Ancient One's death? It's one of the best moments in the entire MCU. Or, you know, the rewinding time battle. Or, of course, bargaining with Dormammu. Here, the Ancient One dies and it's pretty sad, but it's nowhere near as poignant. That being said, they gotta kick Mordo and Dormammu's ass, so Wong gives Strange the Eye of Agamotto, and Doctor Strange becomes absolutely cracked out of his mind, my guy. And that's one thing I love about this movie. The magic is always pretty unique. Like, every sorcerer has a distinct power set. And while most of the time they're just making weapons appear out of thin air, they do cool shit like this. So Dormammu uses the kits to return, kills Mordo for failing him, and steals the Eye of Agamotto. Right after that, he summons all these monsters into the world, and let me just say, after that comes one of the hardest moments in the entire movie.
Who are you?
I'm Doctor Strange.
Sorcerer Supreme!
You did it. You did it, you bitch. That was so aggressive. I was like, you did it, you bitch, not you did it, bitch. I like summoned my my inner Jesse Pinkman. So being a being of pure magic, Doctor Strange just absorbs Dormammu into himself with the Eye of Agamotto. And once he's defeated, the city is saved. There's still like monsters and shit roaming around, but they say that they're gonna stop them eventually. Oh, and y'all Atwater simps, get ready. Here comes the good part. Not only do we get more of her, but she's not wearing her doctor's uniform. Thank you, Marvel, for this meal. Steven projects himself into Atwater's mind and tells her he's better now, and tells her,
I want you to know that you were right. It is time I start giving back.
And dude, just like Dr. Palmer, they don't kiss. It's just like an affectionate meeting It's a very obvious, I love you, goodbye. And it goes so hard. This movie goes so hard. I love this movie. It's great. I love it. I've watched it 3 times already. And of course, to tie everything together, Doctor Strange at the end visits his sister's grave. Super sweet. And man, this movie rules. Also, Clea is name dropped at the end of the movie.
I have discovered several new prospects. One in particular, a woman named Clea.
It's almost like it's teasing for a sequel that never came. And I was looking for this online. I got it from the DVD, and it's a comic, and Clea is in it. They made a comic that is set after the movie, but at the same time, it's like a prequel? Because at the end of the comic, after saving Clea, whatever, he goes like, listen, I wasn't always a cracked Sorcerer Supreme. Let me tell you how I got here. And it's to be continued in the movie. This shit cannot get any better. So technically the movie is standalone, right? But if you read this comic beforehand, it's like you get a story within a story. Because it's like, oh wow, he's telling the story to her, and right at the end, the last thing that's said is, we have a promising student, Clea. It's like, well, you're the promising student and now you're here. I rambled on about this comic for way too long, but this movie goes hard. Also, like, I really miss when movies had like really fun bonus shit in there, but I guess they can't have that to, you know, save trees and shit. I don't know why I said it like that. Fuck trees. Please don't destroy the environment. So yeah, Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme. The Sorcerer Supreme is also kind of like its subheading. Fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it.
Avengers, assemble!
Y'all remember this? In 2008, Marvel and Lionsgate dared to ask the question, what if the Avengers actually had sex?
What the hell? Oh my god!
We might have just reached one of, if not the best film in the series, maybe? The entire premise of this film is original, as in it does take from the comics a bit, but this isn't some adaptation. It creates original characters, like Torrin and James Rogers. By the way, James Rogers? Oh man, like this shit is what led me to shipping Steve and Nat in Winter Soldier a bit. I was like, damn, are they gonna get together? Like they did in the Ultimate Avengers movies, so they're gonna do this again, right? It didn't happen, but that didn't stop me from thinking they were eventually gonna happen later. And then Black Widow ended up with the Hulk. Huh? And that's a whole other video. Also, it's not that insane that I thought that they were gonna get together, because a lot that happens in these movies ends up happening in the MCU later. So I think what I thought was warranted. Now, this movie does a lot of unique stuff, and I respect the hell out of it because it's kind of like playing in the Marvel sandbox and just doing whatever you want, and it honestly leads to some very fun, engaging moments, and emotional ones too. This is the movie I very much vividly remember replaying over and over. This one and Hulk vs. Wolverine were my jam. And let me just say, rewatching it, it holds up pretty damn well. Though of course I do have my gripes with it. Let's just say in a list with Doctor Strange and Invincible Iron Man, this is definitely in the Doctor Strange range. That rhymed. Whoa! Bars. Enough talk, let's watch this thing. The movie begins with Tony Stark, voiced by the incredible Tom Kane, telling a story to these kids, the story of the Avengers. How they were Earth's mightiest heroes, how they married and had children, and how they eventually fell to Ultron, with their children being kept safe away from the machine. Now that's just a super dark children's story, but the best part is that the kids are like, yo, Tony, tell it again!
Can we hear it again?
Tell me again how my parents died, let's go! It's really funny. That being said, it catches the viewer up to speed and immediately poses the threat of Ultron. Now let me just say, this movie has peak Ultron. I don't know about you, but I was never really a fan of Whedon's sassy Ultron. Like, I get it. But, you know, at the end of the day, I want cold, emotionless, brutal Ultron. Making a character funny isn't the issue, but giving a character a sense of humor inherently humanizes the character. And I think humanizing is the last thing you want to do to Ultron, unless it's like a big twist at the end that his end goal is something very human, which makes Ultron's entire existence kinda ironic. Like, emotionless killing machine is driven by emotion, you know? Anyways, this is peak Ultron to me, and you'll see later how genuinely scary this character is. So the children are are James Rogers, Captain America and Black Widow's son, Torrin, Thor and Sif's daughter, Henry Pym, son of Giant Man and the Wasp, and Azari, son of Black Panther and Storm. Probably the coolest looking character in this whole thing. The movie then flashes forward 12 years and gives these slice of life sequences. The children are vibing and we get to meet them and understand their abilities. A fun quirk they gave Torrin is that she was raised on Earth, you know, but she speaks in Old English to feel closer to her father.
I know thee to be real, father.
Sometimes she forgets and like slips back into just straight up like regular speaking, and it's really funny. I really like that.
The point is to not be such a jerk. Do you think Asgardians really say jerk?
There's lots of little things this movie does to endear us to these characters, except one fucking character, and that's Pym. Fuck you, Pym. Pym is so annoying. He's not that annoying, but like he's the youngest character, and he's just kind of whiny, and it really gets on my nerves.
No fair, Azari. You didn't give me enough of a head start.
Also, for some reason, they decided to make him a boy when in the concept art, it was clearly supposed to be a girl and they just changed it last minute. I don't know why they did that. That makes Torrin the only girl in the Avengers. It feels like a boys club for like the whole movie, and it's like, yeah, maybe throw in another girl. Just to like change it up a little bit. Anyways, I'm not a fan of Pym. I tolerate him the whole movie.
Did you guys know that the fountain was a secret door? Because I didn't, and I'm way smarter than all of you.
What's interesting though is that James is kind of annoying too. As in, the dude is this reluctant hero, right? And we find out later that he is a good guy. He's just all depresso espresso, you know? Like at the start, the vibe he gives off is like he's one bad day away from like just making fun of everyone's dead parents, despite the fact that his parents are dead too. Holy shit, okay, I just rewatched that bit of the movie just to see like how this interaction plays out. He actually insults their parents being dead and is like, Torrin, your dad just doesn't fucking love you.
Oh right, sorry, there's no point for us because our parents are dead. Your dad just abandoned you, so there's still hope.
That's awesome. I can't believe they actually did that though. I wrote that in, like, that's the vibe he gives off. But the dude straight up is like, fuck you and your parents. Holy shit. So the plot really gets moving once the Vision appears and freaks everyone out. Tony takes the Vision to his man cave and tell the kids to fuck off. But of course, they secretly follow. One thing I really enjoy about this movie is that not everyone is like always on the same page. They disagree and bicker, but will still work together. They deadass just go against authority figures like half the movie, and it's just really entertaining, you know? It keeps things fun, and like as a kid watching this movie, I'm like, yeah.
Fuck what the adults say, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Sadly though, James should not have done his own thing along with the rest of his siblings because they straight up activate just like all the Ultron bots and alert Ultron of their location. Let me show you Ultron's first appearance.
Energy source detection. Location, Arctic Circle. Energy analysis matches fugitive designation. Iron Man. Finally.
That is the coldest shit I've ever seen. Like that's the Ultron I love. No emotion, just cold as hell. So cool. So Ultron reprograms the Iron Avengers and crashes into the Avengers Refuge, which is basically like this big dome in the Arctic, and catches everyone by surprise. So the kids escape with the Vision on the Quinjet. Meanwhile, Iron Man suits up and takes on Ultron. Now, two things. First, the kids have only heard of these stories, but there's never been visuals, so when we discover things with them, it genuinely feels really cool. Something as simple as Iron Man suiting up is made 10 times cooler considering that they've not only never seen Iron Man, but didn't know it was Tony who wore the suit. Now the cooler part is that this movie definitely works as the end of the Marvel animated universe. Kind of. The composer of this film is the same composer as prior films in the series, and he reuses pretty much all the musical cues, which means that when we see the Avengers, we hear the Avengers. Not only that, but the Avengers roster consists of these characters that we've seen in prior movies, Ultimate Avengers 1 and 2. Like Captain America ends up with Black Widow, and now you find out they have a son. It's pretty much a direct continuation of the story. The only issue is that, well, Giant Man dies in Ultimate Avengers 2, which is the only thing that messes things up. That being said though, spiritually, this works as a finale. And trust me when I tell you, the musical cues really hit at a certain point in the story. Now, the second thing I wanted to say is, holy fuck, the visuals of this movie are insane. Is it groundbreaking? No, it's not, but it's really, really, really good. There's parts of this movie where the visuals just go crazy stupid for no reason, and this is probably the highlight of the film in that regard. This fight scene, I mean, just incredibly contrasted coloring, very intense highlights, and pure black shading, which really makes everything pop in this really satisfying way.
Someone cooked here.
Also, the tone instantly changes when Ultron arrives because, you know, when they're in this dome, it's like bright and has like a nice sky and everything. Ultron crashes through, the dome shuts off. We see now what the sky actually looks like. It's all gray and it's all like fucking stormy. And then like the alarms go off, so everything has this red glow. Fucking terrifying. It's awesome. We stand till death. Anyways, I can't reiterate enough, the action sequence is so cool, but Tony loses cause of course he does. And the Vision takes the kids on the Quinjet to the Savage Land.
I have set a course for the Savage Land.
The Savage Land?
That sounds horrible!
The movie mentions Jocasta, the Savage Land, the Quinjet's how they get around, and stuff like this may seem obvious and like no duh in a post-MCU world, but prior to that, before that, you know, stuff like this was really cool. I forgot to mention, make sure to check out Interstellar Ranger Commence. It's Browntable's original animated series. This is a displate of the show. You can get it at Displate. The link is in the description for Browntable's Displate store. These are the protagonists, Hope Griffin and Itsuki Reo, and you can check out their adventures by watching the show. Thanks so much for catching up on it. Anyways, these kids are like, fuck the Savage Land, fuck authority, fuck you, Vision, and they kill him. They shut him off and he dies.
Hell no, man. What the fuck?
I'm joking. That would be crazy.
That's crazy.
No, the Vision just turns off because he is like in power reserve mode or something, like his battery's depleted. So the kids decide to go to Ultra City, which is basically New York City, but it's renamed because of Ultron. They go there because they want to rescue Tony. But here's the big thing. We have this whole action sequence with Iron Man and Ultron, as you know, but the kids haven't actually fought anything. And so they come into the city with this very confident attitude, especially Torin, who's like, all right, back away, boys. I'm fucking invincible, and I'm like a god.
I am immortal and invulnerable. Ultron holds no fear for me. For Asgard!
2 seconds later, she gets absolutely destroyed.
Oh my god! What is that?
And it's very cool to see these characters experience the dangers of the real world after being housed and being safe for so long. Like, they have this already pre-existing notion of how powerful they are and how sick they are, but no, they're pretty new to all this. And this is especially good for Torin's character, as she's always going on about how she's the daughter of Thor, and she presents herself in a larger-than-life way. Ironically, she's saved by the one character that has no superpowers, the son of Hawkeye.
Look at little
Hawkeye
Junior. Gonna cry?
Now, Hawkeye leads this little band of survivors in Ultra City, and they're like, yeah, a 13-year-old can lead us. I'm assuming they're like between the ages of 12 and 15. They are not older than 15. So it's genuine. It like kind of caught me off guard that it's like a child, like a genuine child, not like, oh, this is kind of like a young adult at this rate. No, this is like a child. A child is leading these survivors, and they're like, yes, sir, we will follow your orders, 10-year-old. Hoorah! It's very funny. Besides that, what's cool is that we find out that the original leader of these scavengers was Clint Barton, the original Hawkeye. He was one of the few surviving members of the Avengers until he was, you know, finally killed. And I love how everyone just always agrees that Clint Barton can fucking survive anything. He's just got a bow and arrow, and straight up for some reason, the dude survives in every like post-apocalyptic Marvel story. Like, he is always there. It's actually kind of awesome. He is constructed alternatively. Anyways, the Kid Avengers are rescued. They meet Francis Barton, Clint Barton's son, who, by the way, just immediately flirts with Torin.
Stay safe, beautiful.
He's got Riz to the max, and they go on their way to rescue Tony, to the dismay of Francis. Francis Barton, Hawkeye. I'm just reiterating Francis, because Francis is such a name that I don't know if anyone will associate that with Hawkeye. Yes, Francis Francis as Hawkeye, I'm gonna stop now. So before we get to this really big scene that I really enjoy, I want to talk about how cool these characters are becoming. Like I said, they're essentially family. They bicker like one, but they also work together. And when they work together, the movie really shines. And we find out slowly that James is actually a solid leader. Thing is, he's just disinterested in training and making an effort in strengthening their relationships because he feels like his life is just going in circles, and maybe a part of him feels no connection to his father, but he does long for one. You can tell he cares because when he sees his robot dad, he's like, "Stop! Dad, stop!"
Dad? Can you hear me?
And it's like, oh, you called the robot dad.
Do I look?
So he has wants, but he has to let go of the past and focus on the future, which is the point of this upcoming scene. Now they reach Ultron's trophy room. This scene is crazy because you see that Ultron straight up killed everybody. Like, it's not just the Avengers, it's like you can see Falcon's wings, like it's like every superhero involved ever is dead. The saddest thing ever is that they play Captain America's theme when we see his trophy case. I love that theme. I love it as much, maybe more, than the MCU's Captain America theme. And hearing it when we see the fucked up Captain America mask and shield in the trophy case, I will cry. I'm going to cry. They find Tony out of nowhere. They straight up just crossfade and they find him. Very anticlimactic, but whatever. They walk into Ultron's trap, but thankfully Francis has a change of heart and saves everyone along with his group of scavengers. So the cast successfully escapes the city, and Tony eventually reveals he created Ultron.
I created Ultron to be a force for peace, for law and order.
Another thing that the MCU took from these series of movies.
Peace in our time.
And as we all know, with so many movies having this happen, and with people that worked on these movies working on the MCU projects, it's no longer really a coincidence. It's very much probable that the MCU was hyper-inspired by these animated movies. Anyways, Tony created Ultron and it led to everyone dying, until Betty Ross, yep, I'm telling you, spiritually an Ultimate Avengers sequel. She appears and is like, yeah, the Hulk's alive, he's just fucking around in the desert.
The Hulk survived too.
Where?
Where he always goes. The desert.
And so, of course, everyone's like, who's the Hulk? And he's like, yeah, guys, he's the strongest man alive. I don't know who would have that accent. I'm tired. And they're like, if he's the strongest guy alive, why hasn't he fought Ultron yet?
Is the Hulk strong enough to defeat Ultron?
And so that's what they do. They're gonna go to the desert, find Bruce Banner, and have him destroy Ultron. And so they locate the Hulk, and honestly, I fucking envy this dude. He is just chilling in the desert, in this cave, growing like his plants. He's got like a little garden going on. Like, dude, you are so chill. I want a vibe. I want a vibe with you.
Please, for your own sakes, you have to get away from me.
Bruce, it's me.
Get out of here, Stark!
Actually, never mind. Oh, and I forgot. Oh my god, he still simps for Betty Ross. I think the one thing that will always happen with the Hulk is that he will always simp for Betty Ross. As he should, though. She kinda bad. And at this point, James has not only recognized the events of the past, but he's recognized how important they are. Like they, as the Avengers' children, are. Like they've been told stories of who their parents are and who they're meant to be, but he never took it seriously because, I mean, it never felt serious. He has no real visual connection to any of these stories. So once he recognizes what happened and how it's affected not only the people he loves, but the world, he goes sicko mode. And by sicko mode, I mean he gets his shit together.
We owe it to our parents. We're all that's left of their legacy.
So they devise a plan to make Bruce Hulk out because he's been suppressing his Hulk side because they need the Hulk to defeat Ultron. But before they can do that, knowing Ultron can track technology, they activate a ship so Ultron can triangulate their location. Oh shit, and I forgot, really cool part of the movie. Torrin loses her sword in Ultra City. So she's powerless for the entire second act of the movie. She has an immense amount of faith in her father and her culture, and after talking to the sky to no avail the whole movie, she does it one more time at her lowest moment, calls for help from her father, and her sword fucking flies out and travels all the way from Ultra City and crashes down right in front of her. The sickest shit ever. So cool. So cool. So the Iron Avengers locate the heroes and a huge fight begins, and it's very well done. Like, look at this shit. Thor just chucks Torun and she can fly. So she straight up just floats in the air and then flies back up. It's wicked. Now, how the fight is handled is that the heroes fight their respective parents. That's cool. It's very symbolic. It is also fucking insane. I want to smoke whatever these writers were smoking because that's cool, but it's also like, Jesus Christ, because it's very cool. It's very symbolic, like Captain America has to beat Captain America. At the same time, it's like, my first big supervillain. I'm gonna go fucking kill my mom. But like, I love it, but it's like fucked up a little bit, you know what I mean? These kids need to go to therapy. Also, hear me out. The Iron Avengers, the coolest thing. Black Panther can actually turn into a panther. So cool. Again, spiritual successor to the Ultimates. And as this battle is happening, James tells Pym to get to Banner and make him Hulk out, which he does. And here comes Hulk Ex Machina. The Hulk in this movie is awesome. Only issue, he's too awesome. He's too OP. So the Hulk destroys a couple of the Iron Avengers, which is kind of a bummer, and then takes on Ultron alone. Ultron is friggin' insanely powerful. Him and the Hulk are duking it out, and he's kind of kicking the Hulk's ass, so the Next Avengers are fighting their parents as this is happening. And then boom. The Hulk goes down. And so the Avengers scramble to defeat Ultron for like a minute. And I know what you're thinking. Oh shit, now the Next Avengers have to figure out how to take on Ultron alone. They have to figure out how to do this. Like, maybe Ultron's weakened, so now they have a chance of defeating Ultron somehow. But no. You wanna know what actually happens? Pym just goes up to the Hulk and is like, hey yo, pussy, I know you're not taking a break right now. And then the Hulk is just like, fuck you, Pym. And he goes Super Saiyan and just kills Ultron in like 30 seconds. He defeats Ultron on his own. Like, there is no big team up battle against Ultron. It's just Hulk defeats Ultron alone. And Ultron's done. That's it. Like, dude, can we at least have the Next Avengers help out something? Maybe the Hulk is doing most of the damage. The other characters have to do something. But they really don't. They don't even leave a mark on this guy. And deadass, that's straight up how the main conflict ends. And look, the journey was cool, but this part of the ending is kind of weak. And it's not like in the Avengers when Hulk beats up Loki and it's like, hey, he did that essentially to Ultron. But no, Loki in the Avengers by the end is not the main obstacle. The main obstacle in the Avengers at the end is the Chitauri invasion and the portal and the nuke. In this movie, Ultron himself is the final obstacle. That's it. It's just Ultron. And this dude just straight up gets beaten up by the Hulk and is ripped in half. And it's like, it's a little underwhelming, but thankfully we do get a very cool resolution because Ultron will self-repair. And so Torun's like, no, I'm not. No, you're not. Who? Ultron who? I'm so rusty. I haven't made a video in like a month. This is really hard. It is really hard to ad-lib. I haven't like gotten it back yet, I don't think. Anyways, she fucking yeets Ultron into space. She flies out into the atmosphere, throws him, and just it goes so hard, but she's not invincible, so she starts choking, freezing, and dying. And it's a bummer. But of course, they're not gonna kill her. She meets her dad. And Thor's like warm glow appears. It's so cool. And he's like, daughter, you're so fucking sick.
You have done me proud, Torun.
And at this moment, I'm feeling very emotional because this is so sweet. But I am having one thought. And that is, where the fuck have you been, bro? You're alive. You let the Earth die, dude? He's like, oh, the Earth, I'm like king though. Like, I'm like busy. Like, can we like rain check the death of my friends real quick? In my head, like, he just let the Avengers die. Like, he can just Bifrost to Earth, right? Am I crazy? Dude, why would you do that? Like, it's an incredibly heartwarming moment because he's like, I want you to learn what it means to be human because humanity is a powerful thing.
You learned what it meant to be human. That is why I left you with the Avengers.
But at the same time, you left humanity to die. Still though, it's a great closer to Torun's journey, and it's really sweet, and he guides her back to Earth, after she says, yeah, I can't go with you to Asgard because Earth is my home.
My home is with my family on Earth.
When I was little, I thought this was the sickest shit. Rewatching the movie, it's still the sickest shit. Torrin comes back, absolutely dripped out in gold. Fucking head to toe gold, dude. She looks so fucking badass. I thought it was the sickest thing. I still think it's the sickest thing. And we get a really cool ending. Francis Barton is like, yeah, there's still like a bunch of robots in Ultra City that we have to fuck up. And then James says the iconic line.
Avengers, assemble!
And that's it. The next generation of Avengers is here and they're gonna kick ass. And oh, I forgot to say, Hulk just kind of fucks off with Betty. I'm not joking. Like, right after the battle, he's just like, Betty, let's get the fuck out of here. And then he just carries Betty and they fuck off. I don't know how to feel about that. They just kind of just like, okay, bye. They're gonna have a kid, I guess. That's gonna be Next Avengers. After watching this movie, what did I think? I still think that Doctor Strange is maybe better than this movie, but that's like debatable. I really enjoyed this movie. This is like very much in the upper levels of the Marvel animated features, and oh, man, it just took me back to my childhood, man. Like, I remember as a kid, I wanted like Azari's powers, but I wanted to be like James, but I also had a crush on Torrin because like she's so fucking sick. I remember thinking Ultron was like the big Avengers bad. And he kind of is. He kind of is. I was like, dude, I want to see Ultron in like a movie. Like this kind of Ultron, just like so scary and cold. The visual style of this film is one I genuinely really liked. I much prefer it to like the very realistic style of like, say, the Ultimate Avengers ones. So I really enjoyed this one. And again, I feel like I really connected with this one because like I was a kid and I connected because the main characters were kids. Not that only as a kid you can only connect with kid characters. I'm just saying that like it gave that perspective that I was like, oh, this is cool. I just really enjoyed it, man. I thought it was a good time. It's not perfect at all. It's not like a masterpiece, but it's very solid. All of these movies have been solid so far, and I'm so excited for the next one. Because the next one is... We're gonna dive into what is considered the best Lionsgate Marvel animated feature, and that is Hulk vs. Wolverine. It's a crazy reminder of what Marvel used to be. It's like a time capsule, if you will. It has two of its three most popular heroes at the time in it, Hulk and Wolverine. And let me just say this, unlike other Marvel animated features, this movie is crazy violent. Like straight up, honestly, I think I was too young to be watching this movie. I got desensitized to a lot of gore. It was worth it, bitch. And yeah, I know the DVD is called Hulk Versus, and it comes with Hulk vs. Wolverine and Hulk vs. Thor, but you know what? I don't care. Hulk vs. Wolverine deserves its own video. I'll talk about Hulk vs. Thor in another video. Now, Hulk vs. Wolverine is only a little more than 30 minutes long, and it somehow manages to tell a fulfilling story for Wolverine and the Hulk, as well as introduce us to multiple characters that are all extremely memorable. It's quite a feat, and no wonder it's so revered by so many Marvel fans. It's lightning in a bottle. And heck, if you love Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I did not grow up with that show at all, but I ended up loving it when I watched it eventually, and I know a lot of you did grow up watching it. Well, you'll be happy to know that the movie is considered canon by one of the creators of the show, Christopher Yost. Dude's awesome, and Hulk vs. Wolverine, Hulk vs. Thor, and Thor Tales of Asgard is considered to be part of the Christopher Yost cinematic universe. And I'll be talking about all those entries at some point in the channel. By the way, speaking of the channel, like and subscribe, please. And this movie is also the true first appearance of Deadpool in animated form. This is how everyone really got to appreciate this character along with Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Deadpool appeared in the X-Men cartoon, but as a cameo and is basically just non-existent. This is a Deadpool that really talks, shoots guns, and can actually be named, because you couldn't say Deadpool in a 90s kids show. And this is the Deadpool I grew up with. It's one of my first introductions to the character, and I have a short story that I want to tell about me and Deadpool. That sounds like I know him. I don't. It's just a funny little side story I'll eventually tell you. Anyways, on to the movie, because we're not here for just Deadpool. We're here for a Hulk versus Wolverine. Let's go. Once the Lionsgate logo and the Marvel logo pop up, we get what's legitimately one of the most iconic lines in superhero history.
I'm the best there is at what I do, but what I do isn't very nice.
Fuck! That's awesome. I love you, Steve Blum. An icon. We start the movie off with a bleeding Wolverine, like, oh shit, okay, this is serious already. But I will say this isn't anything we haven't seen before. Like Ultimate Avengers 2, you know, Cap gets fucking shot multiple times and he's bleeding out of the bullet holes. Like, yeah, we've seen violence in these movies, and this movie has violence like that. But there is a point in this movie where it just jumps to like extreme violence, and it's fucking incredible. Now, Wolverine puts his arm back in place, and once he does, the Hulk bursts into the scene. Probably the most iconic Hulk voice of all time, by the way. Fred Tatasciore voicing him. Oh yeah, Steve Blum.
Hulk versus, we did this movie called Hulk versus Wolverine. Wolverine actually drew blood in that one, so instead of going, he actually went, we brought him to another level of ferocity.
Oh yeah.
And we cut to the best friggin' opening credits in a Lionsgate Marvel feature, along with the best score. My goat Guy Michelmore came in and said, oh, you want Peak? Holy shit. It's so good. Once the credits pop off, and I do too, we cut to Canada, the glorious country where Logan is from, and we're introduced to Logan in such a fun way with a nervous soldier. It's giving Iron Man 2008 with that nervous soldier dude. Very fun, brief intro, but yeah, he's like, who are you? Wolverine's like, fuck off, and he blushes like an anime character. Logan meets up with this army dude from Department H who tells him that 4 hours ago, the Hulk tore up a small town after crossing into Canada from the US. Logan smells the Hulk's radiation from the wreckage and is able to visualize him essentially killing innocents and kids, and he smells ammunition from people that try to fight back.
Guess they didn't fight hard enough.
So this army general guy's like, babe, I need you to kill the Hulk. And the Wolverine's like, easy clap. I fucking got this. All smug and shit. And let me just say, it's such a great interpretation of the character. He's got that gruff look. He's clearly short. He has the classic suit. It's fucking excellent. No offense to Hugh Jackman. He's been a great Wolverine, but oh my god, I need a rough-looking, just short dude as the next Wolverine. I'm sick as I'm making this video, by the way. I hope you know how much I'm sacrificing.
Relax, crybaby.
His nasty ass starts smelling the Hulk and just starts tracking him. He's a fucking animal. He's a fucking dog. The score for this movie, by the way, is just so phenomenal. It just sticks with you. It's so memorable. Frank Parr, by the way, who also directed Invincible Iron Man and Doctor Strange, left it all on the table here. He cooked so hard. And it's so great to see what he can do with an incredibly tight and focused script. Like the second this movie starts, we're running. It's like no moment to breathe. Well, there are moments to breathe, but there's barely any moments to breathe. We're just move. Shit is happening. Fight scene. Like, it's awesome. And I think that's why this movie's so memorable to people, because it captures your attention so quickly. And so Wolverine stops at a lake, and we get to see that iconic Wolverine cover be recreated as he drinks with a wolf, until Wolverine eventually spots the Hulk's tracks, and we get this just awesome shot of the Hulk's feet just becoming smaller and smaller as he becomes Banner. And then we get me! Eventually, Wolverine smells Bruce, and he smells obviously exactly like the Hulk. So unless Bruce has been fucking a giant monster and that's why he smells like that, then Bruce is definitely the Hulk.
You smell toxic.
And then we get the fucking sickest shot of all time, dude.
You're in terrible danger.
Y'all, if that isn't the most hardcore thing you've ever seen. Huh? That isn't possible unless it's an animation, but it goes, like, there's no way, you know, like, that wouldn't work, but, like, that looked wrong, sorry. But it works in animation, that's why animation fucking rules, by the way. A little kid watching this would think this is the most badass thing of all time, and they'd be right. Holy shit, man, I've been missing Marvel media that isn't MCU or homogenized to have the MCU skin. I want comic book shit back, you know? And this movie came out in 2009, man. This was the time when Iron Man was just starting to leave B-list character and enter A-list character. During this time, Wolverine, the Hulk, and Spider-Man were Marvel's greatest characters. Anyways, we're back to where we started, where the movie started. Oh, yeah. And we get what is arguably one of the most memorable animated superhero fights of all time. Come on! It's only like, what, 2 minutes long? But it's so brilliantly storyboarded and animated, man. Like, the camera work is top notch. There's a scene where Hulk beats Wolverine's ass and he thinks like, wow, it's over, you know? I can finally chill. And so far, this movie's been pretty PG-13. Nothing really violent yet, no real gore, no nothing. So when the actual stabbing happens... Greatest movie of all time. So they just keep fighting. Wolverine gets his ass handed to him again, and there's a coloring error, but I don't care. This shit is fucking peak. Logan, yeah. Stab him in the heart. Let's fucking go. And then as soon as they're like, okay, we're actually gonna try and kill each other now. Like Hulk is like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and Wolverine's like, yeah, bub, I'm gonna fucking kill you. That was so bad. That was a terrible Wolverine impression. Let me try again. Bub, I'm gonna kill you. I don't know. We're interrupted by Team X from the Weapon X program, which consists of Sabretooth, Omega Red, Deadpool, and Lady Deathstrike. Fuck. Oh my god. Thank you, Marvel, for creating women. Where's my notebook? Another childhood crush? Check. They knock out the Hulk and Wolverine, and we get these flashbacks to Logan's past. This was before he was Logan. He was James Howlett, I assume. Or maybe in this universe, he's always been Logan. It's very brief, I don't know. Anyway, he's knocked out by these soldiers and is taken into the Weapon X facility. This is where the movie takes a turn, because this isn't just about Hulk fighting Wolverine, like, you know, the first appearance of Wolverine is in a Hulk comic. That's not what the movie's necessarily trying to do. The movie's actually about Wolverine getting the closure he needs by destroying the thing that ruined his life. Yeah, this movie takes kind of a risky turn for a movie called Hulk vs. Wolverine, but they do it and it really pays off. Also, this is a great moment to stop and talk about the character designs of this film, because we've now been introduced to basically every character. The character designs are outstanding. It's got this still anatomically correct look, but body parts are exaggerated. It's giving like Spectacular Spider-Man, how Sean Galloway absolutely cooked with those designs. And yeah, this one's all Jeff Matsuda. Yeah, the guy behind the Batman's designs, Batman vs. Dracula, TMNT 2007, that Jeff Matsuda. He understands his shapes. I love the different vibes every character gives off in this movie through size or posture alone. Anyways, we've been introduced to Wolverine's grim past, and there's no cutting away at all. It's bloody and violent and brutal, and I love it. And it's so great to see so much of Wolverine's past be adapted in this way, with imagery ripped directly from the comics. This is in the past, by the way. Sabretooth warns the professor about how Logan can't be controlled, but the professor's like, no, we need his DNA. I gotta make mutant babies we can control, like X-23, holy shit. Where did that come from? And then Deadpool shows up and he's like, I wanna kill babies. No, I'm serious, he says that.
What do you say after the mission we kill all those floating babies?
I really like Deadpool in this movie, but they definitely amp him up to be a villain, plain and simple. It's not at all one-to-one what the character is now. He's pretty much just a villain. He is just a bad guy.
Goodbye, bye.
What can I say about Deadpool? You know, sadistic, evil, but charming as hell. When you can make another one of your cronies, your evil cronies, cringe, you know you're on a new level of disturbed. You know what I mean? And I think that's exactly where Deadpool is.
The way he takes things so non-seriously really balances all the darkness and edge that shows up in the film, which genuinely makes it so much more enjoyable. Now I want to tell my little Deadpool story, okay? So when I was little, when I was a boy, I used to buy so many fucking toys. I didn't buy them. My parents bought me so many toys. And I remember seeing a Marvel Legends Deadpool figure. I didn't know who the fuck this was at the time, and I'm like, Deadpool? With some fucking green alien? The hell is that? I'm not buying that. Biggest mistake of my life. Years later, I find out about the Deadpool character. I'm like, oh, this dude is sick. I had the Marvel Legends figure in my hands when I was little. My parents were like, we'll buy this for you. And I'm like, no. So little me looks up the price for the Marvel Legends Deadpool figure. It's like $200. My parents aren't gonna buy that shit. For one figure? No. So I spent more than a decade of my life feeling bad because I missed out on the toy that I've wanted for so long. I had it in my hands and I said, no. Anyways, I fucking bought him. This is still the best Deadpool figure that's ever existed. Moral of the story, I guess, don't let your dreams be dreams. Read his comics too. He's portrayed too much as just silly, goofy guy, and he's got a lot of depth to him. Eventually, it's revealed that, yep, Sabretooth was right, and Wolverine escapes the facility, cutting off the professor's hand in the process, dude, like, holy shit. I love violence. Logan's then woken up by Sabretooth beating the shit out of him. Truly a canon event. The professor then walks into the room and explains that he's not only happy to have Logan back, but he's happy that Logan led him to the Hulk and reveals that, to no one's surprise, Hulk wasn't destroying the town from the beginning of the movie for no reason, and was actually just being chased by Team X. In fact, Hulk saved the little girl that Wolverine thought the Hulk had killed. And when Logan finds out, he's like,
I'm gonna cut out your heart.
Real shit. The scene then ends with Deadpool mentioning Lady Deathstrike really wants to kill him. And then we fade into Lady Deathstrike. What will she do? Yeah, that makes sense. So the professor walks in and is like, Deathstrike, what the fuck? I told you no, you can't kill Wolverine. Man. That was sudden. I wonder if any other characters will die in this movie.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
So she breaks Logan out and tries to kill him, and I'm trying so hard not to simp, but they literally made it impossible because she's moaning as she stabs him. What am I supposed to do? Not simp? Please, stab me. Bro, I can fix her. She's dumb as hell though, because she stabs Sabretooth through Wolverine, who has a way weaker healing factor, Sabretooth does, and is beaten up by Wolverine, who's now escaping. And if you thought that fight was fun and violent, you haven't seen anything yet. This scene is why I said earlier that Frank Parr did a really good job. You could say, he parped off. Get it? Thank you storyboard artists Kevin Altieri and Butch Lukic. Thank you Don Cameron. Thank you key background painters Joel Chang and Steve Nicodemus. And thank you James Peters for the color keys. Great work not only for this movie, but for this sequence. Those that worked on this sequence popped off, man. Very, very bloody, and that's what this movie does best. We then cut back to the professor's body where the rest of Team X are, and they've decided to hunt down Wolverine.
The last thing the professor said was for us to kill Wolverine.
I would think the last thing he said was, ah, Sabretooth!
As the team are like, let's kill Logan, Wolvie's over by Bruce and helps him escape. And this is really cool because the two of them are now oomfies and they talk about their futures and what they want to do in life. That was a lie, sorry.
No, that was my favorite gun!
Wolverine and Bruce have to escape Omega Red and Deadpool, and eventually Wolverine tells Bruce to Hulk out, but Bruce says no, but also he can't, because he's been drugged and whatever that drug is, it's suppressing his adrenaline. So Wolverine just stabs him. Can I just say I'm a huge fan of Bruce Banner in this movie. Like his constant fear and worry about losing control and general anxiety is such an integral part of the character, and it's depicted extremely well here. It always makes the build-up towards the Hulk emerging just that much more fun. Wolverine then has to fend off against 4 of his entire rogues gallery alone. Does Deadpool count? I'll count him.
Got any last words?
Yeah, 2.
And it's genuinely such an awesome time. The entire movie is just crazy violence over and over again. It's just so sick. Wolverine cuts off Deadpool's arm.
Would you give me a hand? I'm kidding. All right, I'll go get it.
I remember my mom seeing that and being like, should my son be watching this?
Okay, now it's upside down.
And so, as they finally defeat Wolverine and Wolverine's struggling, Hulk hulks out. Once Hulk KOs Sabretooth, all bets are off, because Hulk is pissed the hell off, man. He's just like, oh, Wolverine? The guy that stabbed me like 2 minutes ago? That guy? Yeah, you're toast.
You did! Logan, I think we lost him!
So Hulk then knocks out Deadpool, he rips Lady Deathstrike's arms off, yeah, peak fiction. Omega Red is beating the hell out of Wolverine, and then Hulk appears and just straight up kills him. Like, honestly, spoiler alert, everyone dies, you know, but like, you don't survive this. He's dead. Unless these villains show up in Wolverine and the X-Men. I haven't seen that show, I don't know. Also, holy shit, Wolverine didn't defeat a single one of his villains in the final battle. Hulk straight up just came in and beat all of them for him in 2 seconds. It's really cool. Who doesn't love a big green dude wrecking shit? And so the Hulk in his rage begins destroying the facility. He then baseball smacks Wolverine out of there. And Wolverine gets up to see his horrible past burn down, thanks to the dude he tried to kill the other day. It's kind of incredible. And of course, the movie is called Hulk vs. Wolverine. So...
where were we?
That's right, the movie ends with the two of them ready to go toe-to-toe again. This fight is between them. It's not for us to see. And that is Hulk vs. Wolverine. It's like 30 minutes long and it manages to surpass every single Marvel animated feature that came before it. It's kind of amazing. No, it's incredible. It's astonishing. I don't know if you know this, but there isn't just one Hulk versus movie. Actually, you probably do know that. I don't know why I said that. In the 2000s, Lionsgate and Marvel came together to release Marvel animated features. And when they released Hulk vs., it wasn't just one movie, but two. Now don't jump for joy because these aren't like two 90-minute movies. They're two 40-minute movies. They're just short films, but hey, you know what they say. It's not the size that counts. It's how you use it. And the first one is the one we all know, Hulk vs. Wolverine, but there's a movie not many talk about as much, and that's what we're talking about today, Hulk vs. Thor. And let me tell you, honestly, little me did not give a shit about Thor. Sure, I knew of him, I read some of his comics, I kicked ass with him in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but he wasn't like Wolverine to me, obviously. So I rarely ever watched Hulk vs. Thor. So rewatching it for this video was almost like watching it for the first time. What also surprised me was the amount of people that said they preferred this movie to Hulk vs. Wolverine, which had me like, what? There's no way, you know? Not to be that guy, but I remember this movie compared to Hulk vs. Wolverine. Hulk vs. Wolverine felt like it gave 100% of everything it could, especially with its gratuitous violence and its like insane story. And this one felt a lot more tame compared to it, which is what made it less appealing to me. But I've come to realize what Hulk vs. Thor lacks in visual flair, it makes up for in pretty much everything else. And honestly, upon leaving this movie, I kind of was like, okay, they kind of fucking cooked. They kind of cooked, okay? They did. And I want to show you just how they did so. So yeah, let's talk about this movie more. We should acknowledge its existence more because it's pretty friggin' dope. So let's hop on the Rainbow Bridge and let's talk about Hulk versus Thor. Real quick, Travis Willingham voices Thor in Marvel Rivals, and he's voiced Thor for like more than a decade at this point, but before that, there was Matthew Wolff, who voices Thor in this movie and also in Thor Tales of Asgard. So awesomely, the movie begins with us traveling through the stars alongside the Rainbow Bridge to reach Asgard. And as we're traveling, whose music accompanies us? Of course, it's the one, the only, Guy Michelmore. Dude's composed every single Marvel animated feature and he always cooks. His style, extremely recognizable, almost to a fault though. Because it's reaching the point where like, every movie's composed by him, so every movie kind of sounds the same. But I mean still, it works really well. He gives all these Marvel movies a larger than life feel, and also the Marvel shows he's worked on. So at this point of the movie, we get a narration by a character.
Asgard is home to the gods.
He talks about Asgard and how since Odin is cracked like 99% of the time of the entire year, that 1%, he needs to fucking nap. He needs to power nap for a full 6 days. 6 days they call the Odin sleep.
The Odin sleep.
The Odin Sleep. Unless it is 6 and I wrote it wrong, it's 7 days. A whole fucking week. And for this week, Asgard is unprotected. Every single goddamn monster, villain, opposing force tries to attack Asgard and take it and the 9 realms over. Imagine that's how the world worked. No, like actually, like imagine you're at your job and you're like, I'm gonna take a week off vacation. Like I'm kind of tired. And then your boss is like, if you leave, we will be overrun by Satan himself. You live in a Smiling Friends episode. But it doesn't matter. It's chill because Thor's there. He protects Asgard. And at the same time, we get the fun revelation of who the narrator was all along.
Oafish brute of a stepbrother.
Agatha all along, fuck you. It was this old man all along. Speaking of men, Bruce Banner gets summoned to Asgard, and you're like, whoa, what's he doing here? Oh, right, this movie's called Hulk vs. Thor, right? What am I saying? And oh my god, dude. Every single time I watch one of these, I'm like, right, another childhood crush, bro. So Loki and my goat Enchantress is there, and they plan to use Bruce Banner, turn him into the Hulk, and get the Hulk to beat Thor. Not beat him off, to beat him in combat. Not beat him in combat, to defeat him in combat. I needed to clarify, it's because I know you were confused, don't worry, I got you. So then we get to the Warriors 3 just chillin', killing time after slaughtering hordes of enemies, and it's nice to know they won't die in this movie. Unlike in Ragnarok, where they were unceremoniously killed off, because this movie wouldn't kill them off like that. Right? This movie wouldn't kill them. So we cut to Thor, who's frustrated at the cycle of violence that the Odin Sleep causes, and he hates that people he knows have to die, and he's like feeling bad about it, so Sif comes in and he's like, oh Sif, what do I do? I'm so sad. And then Sif comes in and she's like, you have to let them die. She does say that though. No, I mean, you have to let them die because if the Odin Sleep stops, if your dad dies, then Ragnarok is coming and everyone will die. So you have to be okay with people dying because if not, everyone will die. Which is insane. What a way to console your boyfriend. But you know what? Go for it, Sif.
Must we be chained to this eternal struggle?
Be careful what you wish for, my love.
And we get this funny ass cut, you know, Thor and Sif hug, and it cuts to fucking Loki just there. And it reminds me of Morbius. You know in Morbius where Morbius and his girlfriend, they're like making out on a rooftop. And Milo, Milo, he's just watching them from a distance like... So funny. So Loki goes on to continue his plan, separate the Hulk from Banner and go into the Hulk's mind and essentially control him to destroy Asgard or whatever. Which I guess means killing his dad. Right? Like, you kind of have to do that to take over Asgard. I say this because I'm gonna complain about it later, so just note that. So with the help of Enchantress, Loki is now the Hulk, and he pulls a Taika Waititi and murders the Warriors 3. No! Why? Now let me just say, this movie's nowhere near as violent as Hulk vs. Wolverine, but it is still a very good amount of fun. Where else are you gonna see the Hulk beating the shit out of horses? Dude! Sick. Oh wait, there is one movie. You'll find out eventually. And so Hulk breaks through this gate that leads into Asgard and pummels the hell out of Balder to do it. But not before Balder can suck and blow. On a horn. The horn alerts Thor, and when Thor arrives and sees Hulk, he's like, whoa, 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 this is my hammer. Whoa.
Dr. Banner, can you hear me inside the beast?
But alas, hilariously, Loki starts talking from the Hulk's mouth. And dude, it would have been so awesome if Fred Tatasciore was like Loki and he voiced Loki's voice through the Hulk. But that doesn't happen.
Why have you come here? Why, to kill you, of course.
Like, Hulk's vocal cords just fully change, and it's just Loki's voice.
Dear stepbrother.
It's like if MCU Hulk just started talking like a regular guy, you know? It wouldn't make any sense.
Green. Did you get that? I'm kidding.
So they fight, and at some point Loki decides to pick up Thor's hammer. Why does he do that? I don't know. Either way, Thor prevents this and he just electrocutes the shit out of Loki, and it's awesome.
Thunder!
Uh-oh, problem. The impact causes Hulk and Loki to split minds again. Loki's back in his body, and the Hulk, there's no Banner, It's just a fucking creature now. And there's no more calculated planning, no more tact. It's just straight up a crazed beast against Thor. And the fight, it's pretty much not a fight, dude. It's just a beatdown. At one point, Hulk just straight up breaks Thor's wrist. Like, whoa. You're thinking there like, shit, now what's Thor gonna do? Fucking die? Yes, he dies. Now here's the thing. Thor's hot. So, of course, Enchantress is like, I'm not gonna let a hot-ass guy die. I just wanted to make him hurt, not kill him. See, Enchantress is in love with Thor, obviously. Like, the movie insinuates that she became evil because Thor decided to be with Sif and not with her, and that's all the movie gives you. So she sneaks off and heals Thor by kissing him.
Where is Loki?
Thor goes on to look for Loki with the Enchantress's help, and Loki is freaking out because he realizes that, Hulk might just go up there and kill Odin himself, bruh. What am I gonna do? And like, dude, what did you think was gonna happen? What did you think was gonna happen if you took over Asgard? Odin only sleeps for like 6-7 days and he's gonna wake up. What are you gonna do? What do you think he's gonna do? Let you rule Asgard? Like, oh, my son, you're here. I guess I'll just let you rule because everyone's fucking dead. No, he'll fucking kill you, so you should probably kill him, right? But then if you kill him, you cause Ragnarok. So what the fuck was the plan, Loki? Oh my god, I forgot the dumbest thing he did. He killed Bruce Banner.
You killed him! Do you know what you've done?
And this is where the movie starts getting great, because since he died there and not on Earth, fucking Hela has his soul. Hela almost took Thor's soul, actually, when the Hulk beat the shit out of him. So what does this mean, everyone? It means that Thor and Loki have to travel to Hell to get Bruce's soul back from Hela. Insane plotline. Like what? Like the story just did like a fucking just took a fucking right turn and was like, all right, now we're doing this. This is insane. We're cooking. And they decided to cook, and the movie starts getting crazy. The substance is coming because Loki sends his minions and allies against the Hulk to stall for time as they travel to Hell to speak with Loki's daughter, Hela.
I always forget what a busy time the Odin sleep is for my daughter.
But not before, oh shit, Bruce wakes up in a sick-ass cabin next to Betty Ross? What? Oh my god, Betty Ross acknowledgement. It's Christmas. So yeah, Bruce basically has everything he's ever wanted now. What's going on? Shut up. He has a son. That's so wholesome. Now we of course cut back to Thor and Loki. They're trying super hard to have Hela give back Bruce's soul. And Thor and Loki are just getting nowhere until Loki's mischievous ass goes in and is like,
you have half a soul. You need the Hulk to complete your prize.
Honestly, by the way, Hell doesn't sound too bad. Hear me out. Like, you get to live out the rest of eternity comfortably. Everything's exactly how you've wanted. Dude, Hela fucking rules, man. I bet you that if Betty Ross was also dead and in Hell, Hela would allow them to be together. But Thor has to rip Bruce out of eternal bliss to become the Hulk again. And of course, he's like, what are you doing? He's got the love of his life in his arm. He's taking care of his son. He's in a cabin right next to like a river. Dude, fuck you, Thor. Eat my fucking ass, Thor. And Thor's like, no, I need you to be a hero, bro. You're an Avenger. He doesn't say that. You're an Avenger. I know you're a hero. Do it. It looks like he's pointing a gun at him. Thor isn't holding Bruce at gunpoint. Imagine, holy shit. Bruce, turn into the fucking Hulk again, you son of a bitch. This movie's already crazy. Thor's hammer just turns into a fucking gun. What? That'd be so funny, dude. Oh my god. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Anyways, he tells Bruce to be a hero. And of course, Bruce, just guess what Bruce says. Guess what Bruce says.
Be that hero now. No.
That's my fucking goat. Be selfish for once, man. But it doesn't matter because Hela brings the Hulk to Hell to merge back with Bruce, and Bruce will only get the rewards of the afterlife once he merges back with the Hulk, which like, bruh, annoying. And of course, Bruce decides to combine with the Hulk to prevent Thor and Loki from dying, because at the end of the day, he is a hero.
You called him weak, Loki. But there is more strength and courage in that man than you will ever know.
So now fused back with the Hulk, Hela sends Bruce back to Earth and also has the ground eat Loki. I'm not joking.
I helped you!
I could fight you for Loki's soul.
Will you?
No.
It's so fucking metal. Did you know that this movie and Drag Me to Hell came out the same year? Wild. Then we get this absolute banger of a scene, holy shit.
Know this, Odin's son. Your soul will be mine.
We shall see.
There's something so sick about lines being delivered like that. Like, that's not gonna happen now, that's gonna happen in the future. In this movie, we didn't just go to Asgard, we go to hell too. And that's so cool, it makes the world feel more alive, more rich. The movie feels like a middle chapter in a long story where characters already know each other, you know? And that's one thing I love about Hulk vs. Thor. And right after, we get the funniest shit ever. Odin, just moments after being almost destroyed by the Hulk, casually wakes up, not even a second goes by. Not even a second. And he immediately goes,
"Thus the cycle begins anew."
Bitch, you just woke up? Relax, bro. Imagine you wake up immediately and you're like, hello, I'm ready to go. Like, no fucking way. Do you have any idea what everyone just went through? Like, come on. Also, I gaslit you. The Warriors 3 are totally fine. They weren't killed off in a stupid way. This movie wouldn't do something that insane. And we get this honestly phenomenal ending, where Odin himself honors the lives lost and honors a hero of Midgard, Earth. And that's Bruce Banner. And we see the Asgardians hail Bruce Banner. They're like, long live Bruce Banner, basically. And we cut to Earth, and we see Bruce Banner, and he's alone. He just walks quietly away into the distance. It's so bittersweet. It's so tragic, man. It's so friggin' good, dude. It's such a good fucking ending. Like, damn. That's so... He had everything he wanted for like a second. Hulk is a tragedy up until, like, I guess the very, very end, where I would assume there has to be a story where he finds peace. But, like, throughout his life, it's got to be a tragedy. That's just the character, and they did that brilliantly in this movie, honestly. So that's where it ends. That's Hulk versus Thor. Was it as good as Hulk versus Wolverine? No. To me. To some, it might be better, because the plot is honestly pretty interesting and can get really involved, and you really do feel like you're going on an adventure. I do think that its biggest weakness is that it's a Thor movie. And it's not to say that Thor isn't a good character or that people don't like him. It's just that, again, he's no Wolverine. He's no Spider-Man, you know? So I feel all the attention went to Hulk vs. Wolverine. But if you have this movie available to you, or you can watch it somehow, don't ignore it, it's a good time for sure. And I think it's one of those movies that gets better as it goes on. Like, the further the plot progresses, you're like, whoa, this is getting, like, interesting as shit. They went to hell, that was so cool. That was really dope, honestly. And a thing I love, I think it always comes down to the Hulk and Bruce and their dichotomy. They have to sadly coexist. It's always so interesting and fun to watch, and I hope you aren't sick of the Hulk, because the next movie is a huge movie.
The halls of Asgard echo with tales of your rage.
They ain't heard nothing yet.
Hey, remember when Marvel actually did stuff with the Hulk? I do. There was a point in time when Marvel's biggest event was an event called World War Hulk, which was about Hulk returning to Earth after being exiled into space. I'll save you from spoilers, because what we're going to be talking about today is actually the precursor to that story, and that is Planet Hulk. Planet Hulk is the second to last Marvel animated feature, the series of films being a collaboration between Marvel and Lionsgate. And let me tell you, it's been a journey to the end, you know. Planet Hulk was the last movie I watched. I never watched Thor Tales of Asgard, which is, you know, the last movie they made. And I remember Planet Hulk being extremely good as a little kid. Maybe it's not as good, but it's still good today. Who knows, you know, like, I guess we'll find out. I still remember how I felt finding out that Thor Ragnarok was gonna adapt elements of Planet Hulk and maybe World War Hulk, who knows, you know? And it just didn't do it. It just didn't do a good job. It was fine, but you'll see, you know, I'll talk about this movie and you'll see how cool it should have been. And the comics are even crazier, but I'm not here to talk about comics. I'm here to talk about the animated movie, baby. And the entire point of this movie is that Hulk finds a new home. Especially after being tricked and sent away from Earth, this is a Hulk story where Hulk, at this point, is definitely capable of speech.
The Hulk is no one's slave.
Bruce Banner's just non-existent for a couple reasons. Mainly because if Hulk reverted to Bruce in this story, Bruce would be dead so fast. So this is a Hulk story through and through. I'm honestly very excited to talk about it. So let's just get into it immediately. Let's talk about Planet Hulk. So just friggin' immediately, we start with the Hulk's POV and we deadass see the Illuminati, and this means Black Bolt, Mr. Friggin' Fantastic, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man. And the character designs by Phil Barassa look extremely similar to the ones by Frank Poir, which include Doctor Strange and another character I'm not gonna reveal yet. So it feels like this movie takes place in the Marvel Animated Features universe a bit. And Iron Man is voiced by Mark Wooden, which makes it feel like it's Ultimate Avengers Iron Man, which technically is also Heroes of Tomorrow Iron Man.
When you get angry, Bruce, you are a force of destruction.
If you really want to, all these Marvel Animated Features exist in the same contained universe, and that means that Ultimate Avengers Iron Man said fuck you Bruce to Ultimate Avengers Hulk. For some reason, the Illuminati and the Fantastic Four exist, and now they're sending Hulk into space.
We picked your destination carefully. A planet full of vegetation and game.
So little me, who grew up with this universe of movies thinking that it's all together, was like, whoa, Tony Stark did this? From Ultimate Avengers 1 and 2? That's how I was feeling. That's literally what I was reacting. Like, it was really funny. But then I was like, these are probably standalone stories. But even so, it's a super messed up plot in general to kick us off. And of course, the Hulk escapes, changes where the ship will land, and as the ship changes course towards the alien planet Sakaar, we see this dude praying, and he's asking the universe for this guy called the Sakaarson to help the planet prosper. So of course, Hulk is the Sakaarson, and this is Planet Hulk. So Hulk crashes onto this planet, and in classic Hulk fashion, people try to kill him immediately. This time it's a bunch of aliens, and well, actually they're trying to capture him, but you get it. This red dude tells him that by order of the Emperor, he is now property, which like...
On your knees.
Hulk also understands this alien language thanks to these discs that are placed on him, which also shock him if he tries anything funny. Also, huge, Hulk in this movie is not voiced by Fred Tatasciore, for like, I think the first time in Marvel Animated Features. This time he's voiced by Rick D. Wasserman, my bad. And to be honest, while I miss Fred Tatasciore, holy shit.
Finally.
What?
Now I know who to smash!
No.
Yeah, his voice fucking rips. Wasserman does an incredible job. Pun intended. He's maybe not as impactful on the more monstrous side of the character, but on his normal, like, range and his normal speaking tone, he's incredibly intimidating, and I love it. And so Hulk wakes up in this cell surrounded by a bunch of gladiators. They're all somewhat led by this dude called Laven. I'm not watching the movie as I'm saying this, so I'm probably mispronouncing his name. I forget how to pronounce his name. Sorry! Actually, fuck it. Let me actually open up the movie. But I'm not gonna correct myself. I'm gonna call him Laven. And if it's wrong, then it will be wrong for the remainder of the video. And if it's right, then I'm the smartest man alive.
I am Lavin.
Fuck! I'm a fraud, Spider-Man! So in this cell, there's a bunch of aliens. There's a robot, there's a childhood crush of mine, there's a fucking bug. But he's actually like low-key one of my favorite characters. Meek! The fucking larva dude from Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, he's an actual character. Did you know that? And last but not least, we get Korg. And this is the real Korg. Not fucking, I'm sorry, man. I just, you know, I wanna, sorry. Listen, Korg in this movie is voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson. Dude, incredible, impeccable casting.
They are my brothers.
Can you imagine how awesome it would be to have like Love and Thunder, but have it be Kevin Michael Richardson Korg fighting alongside Thor? Dude, what are we doing? I'm still pressed, bro. Listen, man, I'm over Love and Thunder. It's been a really long time, but this reminded me of that. There are connections with this movie that remind me of Love and Thunder, and of course, I will take any chance I get to shit on Love and Thunder. Anyways, I don't think I have to prove Taika Waititi's filmmaking abilities. He's made good movies before, so let's just move on from this tangent. Korg in this movie is friggin' awesome. The majority of the cast gets a backstory. We understand all of them in straight up no time at all. It's great. But before we can get to that, it's time to smash, baby. Okay, you know I wrote that without really thinking of how that would sound. Actually, Hulk says Hulk smash like all the time, actually. Do you think when he gets down to business that Bruce Banner says Hulk smash? So like 6 minutes in, it's go time. They're in the Coliseum, they have to fight for this so-called Red King's entertainment, and it's to the death. And here's the dope part, they have to fight Cronins. Korg is a Cronin. You immediately have this emotional weight in the fight. So Korg's like, no, dude, I don't want to kill these guys, bro. It's me, it's your Oomphy, you know. But like, obviously they're not gonna listen. And also these dumbass bugs die. Yeah, that's like way more brutal than I remember it being. Also, where is Hulk during all of this? He's just fucking off. Dude's trying to get the hell out of there. He's like, this is not my beef, you know. You don't want no beef, you know. It's crazy. And by taking no part and ignoring the fight, Laven, the dude that was like the only guy making sense, immediately gets stabbed and dies. That makes Korg go beast mode, and he immediately just starts killing all of the Cronins. At the same time, you know, it's a bummer because it's like killing your own kind. I guess that's like the thing that's really fucked up, and it's his friends. That being said, they were brainwashed, so I guess it's kind of like they're dead mentally already. You know, but it's still a bummer. At this point, Meek lets the Hulk know who the Red King is, and it's this red Lex Luthor looking guy. And shit can never be easy, okay? Because, you know, they won, but immediately after, they have to fucking fight Cthulhu. And Cthulhu fucking immediately kills this robot guy. You know, the team is starting to drop and nump. Hold on, is that Star-Lord? Peter, what the fuck are you doing here? Are you entertained? Fuck you, Chris Pratt. Eat my ass, Chris Pratt. At this point in time, by the way, Hulk is like, fuck. Oh, man. I have to go and fucking do something again, you know? That's my best Hulk impression. It's not, but like, you know, why would I try? I'm just having fun, man. And he kills it in like 5 seconds. Like, dude, nobody had to die. And the funniest shit is that Lex Luthor's like, no you didn't. You didn't kill it. No, you didn't. You didn't win. You didn't win. And he just gets enough LexCorp robot and starts fighting the Hulk. You can't even give him the dub, dude. And before the Hulk can even do anything to the Red King, he's stopped by his bouncer, his guard, his super powerful shadow, Kyra. Now, Kyra follows his ass because when they were, she follows the Red King's ass. Because when they were little, the Red King saved what was left of her village after it was swarmed by these things called spikes, which are these bugs that, like, when they get into your skin, they just burrow deep in there, basically like Alien or some shit. But instead of becoming a chest burster, they just burst out of whatever, your entire body. You just become like a zombie. And it's really fucked up. It's really sad. So once Kyra beats Hulk's ass, Hulk is friggin' just pissed back at their cell. And the other survivors decide to become warbound in the wake of Laven's death.
We must honor his death by becoming warbound.
What warbound is essentially like a found family. And you are now like bonded. Warbound. Wow. Wait, yeah, it literally is what the name is. It's a family that fights together, you know, dies together kind of vibes. That's what I gather. And so Meek being an outcast is like, wait, oh my god, like a hive? I can't wait to tell my backstory, but they have to go in order. And let me just reiterate. They have to go in order, okay? So first, Hiroim goes. Hiroim's just this dude who was in some high-ranking position, yada yada yada. To make things short, he's stripped of his rank and cast into slavery because he doesn't believe that the Red King is the Sakarsan. Bummer, right? But yay, now it's Meek's turn, let's go! But no, LOA is like, shut the fuck up, shut up, Meek. No. It's not your turn, actually. It's not your turn yet, even though Meek was like halfway through his story.
Lava time when... Meek, not yet.
You know, now it's Korg's turn. But what? What's the order? What order are we going in here, right? Are we not going clockwise? But then, whatever, Korg talks about his backstory. Korg and his Cronin allies go from world to world to steal and study and do whatever, and they decide to go to Earth. Big mistake. Because they decide to capture one of the inhabitants of Earth for study, and it's fucking Thor! Idiots! And Thor looks exactly like his design in Hulk vs. Thor, which is wicked, and not just that, Thor fucking kills them. He like slaughters them, actually. Dude goes in like, bro, stop. He's already dead. They really didn't do anything that bad yet. Just get him to leave. So the Cronins release this big ass robot to take out Thor, and it actually kind of whoops his ass. But guess what, bitch? He's not alone. That's right! My goat, Beta Ray Bill, is in the fucking movie. So Thor and Bill just start wrecking shit, man. It's awesome. Korg backstory, Planet Hulk 1, Thor Ragnarok 0. Eventually they reach Sakaar and all that. And immediately, after finally all this time, it's Meek's turn, of course, because it's gotta be going, I guess, north, south, east, west, right? No! Eloy's like, shut the fuck up, you freaking bug! You tiny little bastard! You goddamn egg-laying sack of shit! She's like, fuck you! It's my turn! And I'm like, Meek! He's getting treated like dog shit! Hashtag justice for Meek, I swear to God. Like, if this isn't alphabetical, if it's not going in any order, then just let him go first. What is the issue? I'm so pressed. Meek, you're my fucking goat. Never forget that. You know what's even more fucked up? You know what's even more fucked up? We don't even hear his fucking backstory. Guys, I'm a little pissed right now. I was trying to finish this video, but my camera kept turning off! The world just doesn't want me to film this video. So I was like, whatever, I'll do it tomorrow. And here I am. Worst thing about it though, I lost like 30 minutes of footage because it turned off as it was recording and it didn't save. So I got cooked. But it's okay. I love talking about this movie, so we're gonna go back into it. Right, so we were at Meek. We don't hear Meek's story, we hear Eloy's, and Eloy just basically says that she knows important people. She's an important person, I guess, and she has connections to people, especially people that want to, you know, take down the Red King. I'm not gonna really go into it, it's not that interesting, but just that is important, so I'm just letting you know. And so the heroes once again fight at this arena, they beat up some robots, Hulk almost dies, but you know, he's the Hulk. The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets, and also the hornier he gets, because he just starts all over the ground for some reason. And here's the thing, his plants start growing out of it. And Hiram sees this. It's literal green seed, dude, and that's why the movie is called Planet Hulk. I'm joking, obviously. What I said actually does happen, but it's his blood. Anyways, after the fight, Kaira gets the Hulk out of his cell and just tells him to leave. Not just that, she's like, yeah, actually, Eloy is getting people to like break her out tomorrow. So we're gonna let that happen if you go with them. Implying that like, if you don't go with them, we're gonna kill all of them. The reason why is because the Hulk's super dope, he's super strong, he probably does have super and like basically everyone thinks he's the Sikarson. And they're right. But the Hulk is basically like, no, I don't give a shit. I wonder if I can actually do the Hulk voice, hold on. No, I don't give a shit. Literally eat my ass. What if I pitch it down?
I'm not going anywhere. Eat my ball sack.
Whatever, dude. But yeah, Hulk's like, I don't give a shit, and he leaves. And Kair is like, God damn it, dude. I really hate this guy. And Hulk does not give a shit about her either. She's pissed off. He's basically like resistant to his own hero's journey. So the next morning when Eloy's gonna get broken out, Hulk's like, don't go, and gives no context. The other cellmates assume that Hulk knows it's a trap because literally yesterday he was dragged out of the cell by Kaira, and they had a super secret conversation that the Hulk is only privy to, not privy about. Like, nobody else knows what the conversation was. So he's just like insinuating like, hey, look, don't go. Who knows what'll happen? Either way, it doesn't matter. It's super obvious that it's a trap. Eloy's like, I don't really give a shit. And she goes anyway. Like, you should probably trust the guy that's insinuating that you're gonna die. And she dies. She gets shot. What's crazy is that she should have just stayed because this is their last match, and they have a Hulk. They're gonna win, like, either way.
So that was a fucking lie.
Victory Bell!
Holy shit, man, that's friggin' sick! Thor versus Hulk? No. Green Man versus Orange Horseman.
Forgive me.
It seems like he doesn't want to kill anyone though, but I mean, he kind of has to because like they're in this Coliseum, but whatever. Fight starts, who gives a shit? It's time to see people throw down. And dude, this fight freaking rips, bro. Straight up, Bill low-key beats the shit out of the Hulk for like most of the fight. I think the biggest thing is that the animation in these movies is always dope. It's so much fun. It's not like the most fancy camera work, but the main thing is it's always fluid and impactful, so it's always satisfying. Now, I don't know how this is gonna make sense, but, you know, go with me here. Hulk stabs Bill's disc, and the disc is there to keep them there, and it shocks them to stay there, stay put, you know? But in this scene, the disc actually breaks when it's stabbed, shocking Bill, but eventually he's totally fine. So, like, why haven't they done that already? Because they have the Hulk. Like, the Hulk could probably just kind of you know? Either way, it doesn't matter. Beta Ray Bill is so flabbergasted. Bro's like, that he doesn't even register that the Hulk is about to beat his ass. Hulk starts beating the shit out of Beta Ray Bill. So hard that even his teammates are like, alright dude, whoa, chill out, bro. He's just a horse, bro. He's just a horse. Stop, but you're killing him. He's just a fucking horse, bro. Stop, he's just a fucking yellow horse, bro. You're killing him, bro. He's just a horse. And here's the thing, Beta Ray Bill survives that beatdown, unlike Thor and Hulk vs. Thor. So yeah, Beta Ray Bill won, Thor 0. But hey, the heroes won, yay, everyone's okay. But then the Red King comes out and he's like, actually no, this is like my society, my game. So you actually can't leave. I need you to do one more thing for me. Which is like fucked up, man. It's so messed up. It's like they won, you know? And the thing they have to do is kill Elway. She's not dead. She got captured. Like, what do? You say, no, I'm not gonna do this last thing. What is he gonna say? All right, go back to the cage? Like, I mean, probably, right? And it's messed up because it's like, that's the thing with this movie. Most of these characters that are fighting in these gladiatorial arenas are people that go against this kingdom, this domain this king has created for himself. And they've rebelled against this. And because of their rebellion, they've now been sentenced to this punishment. And even if they escape this punishment, if they escape this torture, and they win, their reward is to just go back to the society that's run by this egomaniac. And it's like, great. Awesome. Obviously they say no, and then the Red King's like, I'm gonna start electrocuting you, and so now they all start getting electrocuted. But here's the thing, Beta Ray Bill, my freaking goat, is alive, like I said, and he's like, no more slaves. Freeing everybody with his electricity like a freaking goat. Or should I say, like a horse. That was a joke I came up on the spot. That was awesome. You can't say that wasn't awesome.
No more slaves! Just free people! Freedom!
And so once everyone's freed, Beta Ray Bill's like, Hulk, you wanna get out of here? You wanna go back to Earth? And then the Hulk's like,
Earth? More like dirt.
Obviously, that makes sense. He wants to stay in Sakaar because the Earth literally shot him to space. Dude, they don't want him. I wouldn't fucking want him. Does that make me fucked up? Maybe. But dude, come on. I'm sorry, Bruce. I'm sorry. That was so toxic of me. Not as toxic as your blood is, though! Fucking got him! Your blood is radioactive! Ugh. I'm on a fucking roll today. So the Hulk leaves and Kyra goes to freaking kill him. Even though I think, wasn't the whole point, like, for him to just get out of there? He's not going to kill the Red King. He literally dipped. He bounced, he's out of there. Anyways, they fight, and this is supposed to be a sexy fight. I didn't just say that. That's what I'm assuming. Here's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna spoil the movie real quick. These two get together. I'm the biggest fan of romance. I'm a huge fan of romantic tension. I love that shit. I eat it up. There's just no real chemistry between these two. Like, the most I remember is that Kyra at one point, like, rubs Hulk's disc. You know, not like that. Not... She rubs Hulk's, like, disc on his chest, like the chest disc. And she's like, let me feel that, like, for, like, a split second. The most I can think of is that they maybe have, like, a physical attraction, but, like, that's it. Did I spit on my glasses? Sorry, it's just that them being together at the end is, like, crazy whiplash, dude. It's, like, literally a jump scare. It's nuts. Sorry. My friend's making Ace Attorney characters in The Sims. Anyways, they fight. Meanwhile, the rest of the cast is off being betrayed by this dude that Elway knows and trusts. Remember I said that Elway, like, knows people and has connections? Yeah, so she trusts another person and that person's a bad guy. Actually, maybe this is karma. Justice for Meek. And then out of nowhere, randomly, spikes start attacking the city that the main cast is in, and I think we can really just assume the Red King has always controlled the spikes. And yeah, basically the plot is that the Red King sent the spikes as a child to find another child to be a second in command. This guy was destroying civilizations at the age of 8 years old. So like 90% of the city dies, including this child that Kyra is trying to save, and that also includes the Hulk. Yeah, the Hulk freaking dies in this movie. Basically what happened is that Marvel Lionsgate was evolving into Marvel Television. They really didn't want to continue making these movies, so they're like, we're not going to do a World War Hulk, so we're going to resolve this just in this movie, Planet Hulk. And it ends in this version with the Hulk dying. And so Kyra parades the Hulk's body and takes him to the Red King's castle where he's gonna kill the entire cast. And once he kills them, the movie ends. That's how it ends. The movie, did you forget? Did you forget how the movie ended? They killed, I'm joking! Did you fall for it? Did you fall for it? You fell for it, didn't you? Nobody fell for it. I literally spoiled that Hulk and Kyra get together. But you thought about it for a second. You thought about, when I said the nostalgia, when I said, do you remember? You were like, hold on. Yeah, don't lie. You were like, hold on. You probably didn't. I'm just stupid. Anyways, he beats the hell out of the Red King. Obviously, Kyra is good now because, yeah, the Red King killed her family. And once he's beaten, the Red King genuinely gets murdered, dude. So what happens is Kyra drops a spike into him. It burrows into his skin immediately, which is just so gross, and he runs away. And as he runs off, his robot army is right there. And what are they gonna see? That there's a spike monster in front of them. So they detect him and they burn him to death. It's so metal. So once again, the day is saved. Thank you, Hulk. Mwah. Actually, speaking of mwah. Anyways, forget the romance because the goats, including my goat Meek, are there supporting the goat, the new ruler of Sakaar, the Hulk, the Sakaarson. That being said, I'm glad a World War Hulk movie didn't happen because, like, it's kind of messed up at points, and Meek turns into a real asshole, and I mean, I doubt they would have adapted that, but like, damn, you know? So like, let's just leave it here. The Hulk pissed off into another planet, and you know, he's having a great time. Everyone's happy, the end. And yeah, that was Planet Hulk. Honestly, a friggin' banger. The action's awesome. Beta Ray Bill is my goat. There are story beats that rip so freaking hard. I didn't talk about it, but Meek kills a guy at some point, and it's like a really nice character moment for him. It's a great time, and honestly, one of the better Marvel animated features movies. To me, it's like a top 3 contender, honestly. I'd have to like think about it, but it might be there. But now, listen up. There is only one Marvel animated feature left. That's right. Just one. We went through all of them, and it's taken so long. We finally arrived at the final film. One that might catch you by surprise. What character did they choose to finalize these films? Was it Iron Man? Was it Captain America? Another Hulk movie? Nope. Thor. We're talking about Thor: Tales of Asgard. The 2011 feature literally no one talks about. That's an exaggeration. People know of this movie, okay? It's called building suspense. Why I feel this movie isn't one that many people talk about, there's a couple reasons. I'm gonna just choose 2, and the first one I think would be that it's Thor. And I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be honest, Thor is simply not the most popular Marvel character ever. The MCU made him way more popular, sure. I think like by the time Infinity War came out, he was like my favorite Marvel character. I was like, this guy's so fucking dope. I started reading some of his comics. I read Beta Ray Bill. I've been a huge fan of Beta Ray Bill. No idea why he's not in the MCU. Now I'm rambling and sidetracking. Anyways, even though he got more popular, he's not as popular as a lot of the other heroes. He's no Spider-Man. And speaking of the MCU, I feel like that brings me to the next reason, and that's that, well, the MCU is now a thing and it became really popular, and I feel like not as many people started talking about Marvel's animated projects because we got live action projects now. Why'd I say it like that? Live action. It's live action. That's such a weird way to say it. I feel like because the MCU was the thing that people were really focusing on, and that includes Marvel, not many people were talking about Thor: Tales of Asgard. I barely remember marketing for this movie. I remember seeing trailers. I remember being on either Marvel Kids or the Marvel website, and I saw a trailer there, but I don't really remember much marketing or buzz around this movie. So with me not being the biggest Thor fan and the MCU going in full swing, I skipped this movie. And I skipped it for more than a decade. And now I'm finally here and I'm ready to watch it. It's been a long time coming, and I feel like plenty of you watching haven't watched the movie either, so let's watch it together. It's time to watch Thor: Tales of Asgard. The movie instantly begins with opening credits. No prologue, nothing. We're just shot into the movie immediately. The music, once again by Guy Michelmore, slaps very hard. And the vibe of his music, in my opinion, has always fit very well with Thor. It has this very regal, grand feel to it with a lot of brass put in. It makes perfect sense for the character. Once the credits wrap up, we're introduced to young Thor, and not gonna lie, young Thor, genuinely so sick. He's so charming, but he's also the most arrogant, cocky person, and it works really, really well in this movie. It's like Thor in the first MCU movie.
There's nothing you can do without defying Father. No.
Just kind of clueless, but there's an added element as to why he's this way. Obviously, Thor in this movie is a lot younger, and with it comes an added recklessness. He believes himself to be hot shit, like he's fighting the most elite warriors in Asgard, the INTERSTELLAR. I think I pronounced that right. And he even loses his sword in the fight. It's like crazy embarrassing. And a warrior's like, that's awkward. And he lifts the sword with his own sword, which, by the way, like, the logistics of that, like, that makes absolutely no sense. I don't know how that makes any sense at all. But anyways, he lifts the sword with his sword and he gives it back to Thor. And then Thor beats all of them up.
Your Highness, we celebrate your victory.
Try again next weekender.
It's so rigged, it's crazy. And the crowd is eating it up. They're dumb as shit. They're like, yeah! Wait, did he just get his sword picked up? I don't give a fuck! That was awesome! Like, bro. Sif watches all of this, by the way, and eventually calls him out on it. See, Thor is being coddled in this film, both Thor and Loki, because Odin does not see Thor as an adult. To him, Thor's just a kid that should not face genuine challenges yet. To be fair, Thor in this movie doesn't seem like the kind of person that could handle them anyway. Thor is even coddled by Loki, who's like, "You're right, the sword's hilt was too slick. I'll punish the dwarves who made it for you."
Good idea.
Okay, man, relax. So Sif and Thor argue, and Sif, like, kinda cooks him.
Are you saying I shouldn't have won today's match?
Not just today's.
And when she does, Thor goes absolutely batshit. It's like, chill, dude. Relax. It is not that serious. It's crazy. Dude is actually unhinged for like the majority of this movie.
Why do you have so little faith in me, Sif?
I am the only one who has faith in you.
Choose your weapon, wench.
So yeah, Thor easily gets his shit rocked and realizes that no, he's not as cool as he thinks he is. Anyway, Sif is pissed that Thor's an asshole and she's like, you know what? Fuck men, you know? And she goes to join the Valkyries, and the Valkyries are a group of women warriors that are like, you're a man? Nuh-uh. And they're like, no, we hate men, bro. Get out of here. And also, they are important later. This is important to the story.
You'll fit right in with the Valkyries.
Afterwards, we're introduced to the Goats, the Warriors 3, and their portrayal is really, really cool. They're so much fun, and they always talk about the adventures they go on, even though they do exaggerate those adventures.
How many were after you?
7, 10.
And again, I love how these characters are portrayed in the movie, unlike in movies where they're not portrayed at all. And they actually go on an arc together, and it's really, really fun to see. Now, currently, they're fluffing themselves up to the crowd to Thor's dismay, who is thinking like, oh, I suck. Now, what the three of them are talking about is the Sword of Surtur, a weapon that's somewhere hidden in Jotunheim, home of the Frost Giants and what used to be the home of the Dark Elves. Now they're looking for this weapon, and Thor's like, hey, can I join? Then Volstagg is like, you can't join us. Your father won't even let you leave Asgard. Again, coddled. And Thor is absolutely pissed at this rate, so he's like,
you dare mock the Prince of Asgard?
Thor, we speak only in jest. We're friends, remember?
Choose your weapon, wench!
This Thor is no chill. This Thor has absolutely no chill, but it's great because you can understand why. He's got this desire to prove himself, you know? And that fuels his eventual choice a bit later. Currently, though, he confronts his father, essentially whining about how he's treated. Odin, in return, is like, dude, you're just a kid. And you've turned training into a whole show.
This kingdom cannot afford to see its prince defeated week after week.
The lesson Thor has to learn is that being king isn't waging and winning wars, it's avoiding them entirely.
Hiding from conflict sounds more like Loki. Perhaps he should inherit your throne.
Perhaps he will.
Odin makes it clear that Thor can't leave Asgard. And Thor whines about this to Algrim, Odin's dark elf advisor, and tells him that, yeah, I'm gonna look for the Sword of Surtur to prove myself. Cover for me, lil bro. And Algrim deadass is like, bro, I got you. And they're homies, and it's really cool.
I will remain silent for as long as possible.
Thank you. You are a good friend.
That being said, Jotunheim and Asgard are in this tense moment of peace, and if any contentious issue arises, there will definitely be a war going on. Thor secretly entering Jotunheim could cause crazy problems. It's why he needs to sneak in, and that's where Loki comes in. And then immediately in the next scene, Loki's gonna make out with Amora, and then Thor jumps into the room and interrupts them.
Amora? Leave us. Choose your weapon, wench!
Anyways, that, I'm not joking, is why Loki becomes evil in this movie. I'm not fucking kidding. I am. That's a joke. No, he's like a huge Thor fan in this movie, Loki. The entire movie. It's crazy. But you bought it though, didn't you? Because you haven't seen this movie, unless you have. Which, if you did, I hope you enjoyed it, because I did. Anyways, so now Thor, in this quest to prove himself, sneaks aboard the Warriors 3's ship, the Thunder Runner, and they eventually set sail. Now, the movie just started, and not gonna lie, it has me hooked already. Every scene is so much fun, I'm enjoying it, the conflict, the quest idea, the characters are all really fun. And it's really cool to see a Loki that cares about his brother, and so they eventually reach Jotunheim. Actually though, it's not Jotunheim. Is it Jotunheim or Jotunheim? I'm gonna say Jotunheim from here on out, but if it's Jotunheim, my bad. Here's where some genuinely awesome characterization happens. The Warriors 3 are actually just warrior dudes who don't really go on crazy adventures. They just go into this space pub and listen to other warrior stories and claim those stories as their own.
Spending a half fortnight in this rotting armpit merely to steal stories has lost its charm.
And then once Thor and Loki enter the pub and start explaining why they're there and what their plan is, Thor pulls this dumb shit.
And lift your steins for a toast, lads.
You took my ale.
And it's giving hit film Sonic the Hedgehog from 2020 because, yep, it's bar fight time. The entire scene is so much fun. The fact that the music playing is partially these little dwarves playing instruments as the fight keeps going, actually peak fiction. I love it when movies do that. Also, I forgot to mention, there's a scene where Odin and Algrim are talking, and Algrim mentions that he lost his children. And this is presumably when, you know, the frost giants drove the dark elves from their home and essentially, I think, pretty much eradicated the entire race, maybe. That's what the movie insinuates, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, Thor loses his sword in the bar fight, but they eventually escape. All of them are so happy that they escaped with their lives. It's also insane because they actually set the place on fire and it's made of wood. Like, holy shit, you're gonna kill them. You're gonna kill them all. Relax, dude. You see what I mean? This movie's fucking crazy. And so eventually they convince the Warriors 3 somehow and they set sail to Jotunheim.
We came in search of Surtur's sword, and will not return home until we find it.
After a scene with Sif and Brunhilde, where Brunhilde's mentioning to Sif that, you know, men are like not very good and they should not be relied on.
Men are useful for one reason and one reason only. Beyond that, they should be disposed of.
The group finally reaches Jotunheim, but the Thunder Runner? Destroyed. I don't know why in this movie this happens, but for some reason, they don't give a shit. There's a scene where they're like, oh, damn, our ship got fucked up. No, you know? But it's also like, your ship got fucked up. How are you gonna get home? This isn't established like in the MCU where you can just go like, Heimdall, I need you to pick me up, and he gets you. You know what I mean? So they're just stranded there and they have to figure out a way back. I have no idea how they're not freaking out that they're stranded in an ice planet. That's crazy. And they have this Lord of the Rings style journey towards where they believe the sword to be. What's also crazy is that it's never really established that there is a specific location to where the sword should be. So since that isn't really focused on, the entire time I'm thinking, this is an entire realm. Are they just hoping for the best? And I think that is what happens because Thor at some point is like, oh, bloody hell, mate. I can't find this sword. I'm cooked. I'm cooked, Loki. And Loki's like, do you remember the stories? And Thor's like, oh yeah, there's that time when like, you know, Odin fought Surtur and then like the sword crash landed onto a mountain. It's that mountain right there! And it's like, okay, wow, the coincidence is crazy. Whatever, dude. Anyways, that coincidence proves true, and they all fall into the plot. They stumble onto the plot because the ground just breaks free, and they all fall, and they discover the Sword of Surtur. As this is happening, Odin is just now finding out that his sons are just doing God knows what in some other location that's not Asgard where they should be, because the space pub like bartender guy shows up and is like, they literally destroyed my pub.
One of them left.
This!
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
And so meanwhile, they find the Sword of Surtur, which Thor is able to grab, and once he wields it, he launches this like lava laser fire blast. And as he does so, he destroys like a part of the mountain that they're in, or whatever tunnel, cave system, whatever. And he realizes, yeah, I am so powerful, I don't think anyone in Jotunheim would dare touch us.
I defy anyone to confront us.
And even Loki is like, dude, that is a crazy amount of power. But Thor's like, shut up, Loki. I don't care. Nothing you say will affect me right now. Let's go back to Asgard by going to where the Valkyries are and getting some horses from them. So that's what the plan is now. They finally remembered, oh yeah, we don't have a ship. Now, as this happens, frost giants are actively being informed of Loki and Thor and the Warriors 3 trespassing in Jotunheim. And now the group only has one thing standing in between them and Asgard, and that's a bridge.
Stop the intruder!
Run!
So everyone is freaking out, shit is hitting the fan, and Thor is like, you know what? Like I said, no one would dare cross us with the Sword of Surtur. So he takes out the sword, and in doing so, he accidentally kills 2 frost giants.
Choose your weapon, wench!
No! The entire time, the goal was to not get caught, and they are leaving Jotunheim, having killed 2 people there. Shit could not get worse. Thor realizes his mistake. I should not be using this thing so recklessly.
I did not mean for that to happen.
And you genuinely see the remorse, and that's where this switch happens for Thor.
2 frost giants have died by my hand.
Now after this scene, Thrym, who is the king of the frost giants, learns of what has happened, and he's like, oh, so Asgard broke the peace treaty. Eventually, Thor and the group make it to where the Valkyries are, and Thor decides to sneak in. And the dude is actually unhinged because he decides to go to like the one spot where everyone is taking a bath.
Wait!
What madness brings you here?
The Thor is like, no, like, listen, I trust you. I need your help. I need some horses.
Terrible things have happened. I must get home.
Which is crazy development for Thor, again, you know, because he's just like a guy that's so cocky and arrogant. You would never believe he's the kind of person to ask Sif for help. So now that he is, you've actively changed, which is a good thing. And it doesn't matter though, because Thor eventually gets caught. Now I know what you're thinking. If the frost giants know that Thor has the Sword of Surtur and he's killed 2 people, shouldn't they like pull up on Asgard? Yeah, they do. They do. So Thrym is like, okay, so you're going to give me the Sword of Surtur before sunrise, because that was a declaration of war. I don't care if you didn't know about it, they did it.
By his actions, Thor has declared war on Jotunheim.
You're cooked, or let's just say you're frozen come sunrise. So in comes Algrim, and he's like, listen, I know Thor, I know Loki. These are my boys, they're my homies. I'll find them and I'll get the Sword of Surtur for you. Especially because Jotunheim is Algrim's home. So of course he knows his way around, and Odin is like, oh, thank you. Your generosity will be rewarded, you know? Typical king shit. By the way, if you're wondering, when does Mjolnir come into play? It never really shows up ever. The only time you see it is in this one moment when Thor is in this weapons area and he's like, oh, look. A hammer. Actually, no, hold on. There is a scene that happens in the pub fight.
Try this.
And he just chucks it, and he like kills like 40 people with it. And he's like, whoa, that was crazy. Silly me, I guess I'm really good with hammers. Never comes up again. Oh, and I think Thor wishes he had a hammer right now because he's actually trapped in the Valkyrie stronghold. Thor is pleading, please listen, all we need are horses. We have the Sword of Surtur and we need to take it to Asgard.
You wish to deliver the fire sword to Odin so that he can further subjugate those who might rise against him. Prepare them for execution.
But then, thankfully, frost giants show up and they start wrecking everything. This also leads to Brynhilde forcefully having to acknowledge that, yeah, they're not just spouting bullshit, this is true, and they are in trouble and they genuinely needed help, which Sif actually provides. Huh? Now, the core cast is all together. Thor, Loki, Sif, and the Warriors 3. And once they defeat all the frost giants around, they're finally able to fly away on these Pegasus. Brunhilde also tells Sif, like, okay, all of you can leave, but to Sif, she goes, you can only return here once you're ready to do so. She never does, like, no. Anyways, finally the heroes are off. They're going to get the sword to Asgard. Hopefully Odin can do something about everything, but they're found by Algrim and the Einarjar. Now here Algrim explains everything. He's like, listen, the Jotuns, or the frost giants, are threatening war against Asgard and they want the sword. And that's when Thor realizes,
you mean because of me?
This weapon is a seeker of death. We cannot just hand it over.
Now they don't want to hand the sword over to the Jotuns, but there's kind of really no choice, because if not, then there'll be war. And so what other choice do they really have?
You've carried this burden long enough. Allow me to take it from you.
Gladly.
Thor gives it to him. He's like, thank you. That thing is pure evil. And once he gets the sword, Algrim, that's when shit hits the fan. Here's where the movie gets a little messy, and I feel like they should have, I guess, elaborated more on this part of the plot, because it's actually kind of heavy, and I don't think it gets the proper discussion that is needed. The Dark Elves were persecuted and essentially were slaves to the frost giants. Odin knows this is happening, by the way, the mistreatment of dark elves by frost giants, and he's done nothing. Because they were persecuted, the dark elves were the ones that sought out Surtur. Surtur's like, oh, okay, so I'll fuck up the frost giants for you with my sword of Surtur. And Odin kills Surtur, essentially just annihilating the one hope that the Dark Elves have of being free, of their race not being enslaved by frost giants. And so that leads to what I presume in this story to be the destruction of almost, or the entire Dark Elf race.
I thought your war with the frost giants ended in Jotunheim.
The killing did not.
And of course, Algrim is like, oh, I have the sword of Surtur now, I'm gonna go kill Odin. And also probably the frost giants. And I'm gonna be honest, I get why he would want to do that. Should he be stopped? I mean, I guess, but like, Odin, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And also the frost giants, what the fuck? So like, now I'm in a weird position where I'm like, well, now fuck Odin and fuck the frost giants. But also, Algrim is gonna, you know, essentially kill all these people. That's not good either. This is such a mess now. It's such a mess, and I get it, and I wish the movie, I guess, delved more into it, but nothing, they don't really do that. And so once Algrim has the sword, now the main gang has to go out in the middle of a war, because, you know, the sword has not been given to Thrym, the fucking frost giant king, before sunrise, so they're already attacking Asgard. As this is happening, Odin is attacked by Algrim.
You could have defeated the frost giants! No!
And it's honestly just such a difficult situation, because it really is this history of war and violence for Odin and the frost giants coming back to bite them. And it's just like, I really wish this movie was like 10 minutes longer to at least try and figure out some sort of way or some sort of explanation to really solidify, like, okay, Odin couldn't have done this because of this, or the frost giants did this because of this. I don't know, but like, just something. These are the motivations, but no, there's no real answer. They just fight and it's pushed aside. This is the reason they're fighting. Is there gonna be a resolution to why this shouldn't happen again? No. And so that's what happens, and Thor starts fighting Algrim. Eventually, using his father's weapon, Thor is actually able to kick Algrim's ass, which is nice. So Algrim is now defeated, and he's like, well, you're gonna fucking kill me. And Thor is like, no.
I cannot forget the many years you were my friend and my family.
And it doesn't fucking matter, because fucking Loki just incinerates him! Okay, man, I guess you are fucked up.
Brother, it's alright.
And so to make a long story short, in the end, Thor goes over to the King of the Frost Giants, here's the sword, and also you can have me.
Jotuns died by your hand, but you have saved countless others by returning this weapon to us.
He leaves, and he just takes the sword. Is that the best place it should be? I don't know. But again, I don't even know if it's good in Asgard's hands anymore, so like, What do I know? At this point now, Loki is just straight up giving evil vibes, and now he's fucking around with a water snake. Odin also thankfully apologizes for his mistakes and appreciates that Thor was able to end an entire war. Crazy feat for a young guy. That's nuts.
You also saw the value of peace, even when its cost can be so very great.
And here's one of my favorite parts. Now the Warriors 3 are recounting a story that actually happened. Yes, that is the arc. They start with essentially taking other people's stories and exaggerating it. Now they're telling their own story and mildly exaggerating it.
How many were after you?
7, 10,
34.
And this is the best part.
Have I caught you filling their ears with lies again? Because I'm certain I counted at least 50.
He's right, 50.
And at the end of the movie, Thor goes back to the barn from the beginning of the movie where Sif kicked his ass, and she tells him, yeah, I've been recruited by the Einherjar, you know, like the guys at the beginning of the movie that Thor fought. And so that's where she's gonna end up, and instead of fighting, they just make out. Which, I mean, yeah, that was so obvious that was gonna happen. And as they kiss, that is the end of the movie. That, everybody, was Thor Tales of Asgard. And not gonna lie, I enjoyed the fuck out of that movie. With character designs by Phil Barrasso, which, you know, the movie is just really, really cool to look at. It's giving Next Avengers Heroes of Tomorrow that kind of stylized look. I love that look. It's so much fun to look at because of the animation, but it's also really engaging because the story's actually really engaging, even though it does get very messy by the end, especially with all the like issues that it starts tackling out of nowhere. Maybe we shouldn't have incorporated the destruction of an entire race and the repercussions of that into such a small movie. Maybe don't do that next time, but I guess what they wanted to do, they delivered it fine in that aspect, but overall, great stuff. If you get the chance to somehow watch this movie, go for it. It's so much fun, and it's just a really good time. And that's it. That is the last Marvel animated feature project thing from Lionsgate and Marvel, and wow, it's been such a journey. To cap it off with a movie like Thor Tales of Asgard, and it's not a bad movie, it's a great feeling. I'm really glad. And I really enjoyed this take on Thor. I do wish that he wielded Mjolnir at the very end to fight Algrim, but what do I know? I feel like that would have been fan service, but I want to be service sometimes, you know? So, Thor Tales of Asgard. I actually really enjoyed that movie. So you know what time it is then. We've seen all 8 Marvel animated features. So now, as you can imagine, it's time to rank these movies, and there's 8 of them. I don't think any of them are bad, but I do think some of them are mid. And guess where we are? That's right, the midfield. So we're gonna go from bottom to top, crazy phrasing, I know. And we're gonna start with a movie that I think is actually, sadly, very close to bad. Now I know a lot of people really like this movie. I remember when I made my video, people were saying, oh, this movie's a banger. I don't know what you mean, it's bad. No. But I don't personally vibe with it, sorry. And that's the Invincible Iron Man to me. I can't really enjoy it too much. It's just kind of slow at the beginning. Tony Stark isn't really a character that has to grow all too much. And it's a bummer because I really like the idea of that story of arrogant person becomes noble. But Tony Stark in this movie is always kind of a good guy. There's really no thing that he has to grow out of. The CG animation in the movie is not very well implemented. The entire volcano fight is bewildering to look at. I don't know what they were thinking with that. And character motivations are all over the place, especially with Howard Stark, and I just can't seem to vibe with it. So that's going last. I'm sorry. Okay. God, it's really hot. It's like the opposite of the first time I was here. It was really cold then. It's so windy and I'm freezing. Now it's hot. Now, next movie on the list, now these I don't think are bad anymore, they're just mid. And it was kind of hard to place movies here, but I have to kind of place some in the midfield because they all can't be in the same category, you know? And so the one that I'm gonna put here is Ultimate Avengers 2. And the reason why I'm putting it there is because kind of like the Invincible Iron Man, it feels kind of slow, man. And it's kind of tricky because, you know, there are character motivations, but I feel like they could have been pushed harder. I feel like they could have been more gripping. You know, there are moments that are, but there are a lot of moments that aren't. And the movie kind of just sidelines Thor and the Hulk. And it's just not as engaging as the first movie, which is hilarious to say because right above this movie is the first movie. Like, look, this movie's pretty good. I really enjoy this movie. The midfield does not necessarily mean it's something bad. It's just kind of like middle of the road. And that's what I think this movie is. I think it's a very good start to Marvel animated features as a whole, but ultimately I don't think it's as compelling as so many of the other movies that come after it. Be that, Doctor Strange, be that Planet Hulk. There's so many movies that I believe do what this movie wanted to do, but better. Through simple character motivation, through writing, I feel like there's movies that do that better. That is not to say that this movie's bad. There's a lot of good things that come from this movie. And I will always rewatch that Hulk fight scene because it's so cool. Captain America visiting the graveyard, amazing. It's so good. I love that. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that really rocks, but there's a lot of stuff that isn't as good, and that's why those three are at the midfield. All right, so we're going to talk about good movies now. So we're going to move to another location because we're not talking about mid anymore. You know what I mean? Okay, now we're going to talk about the good movies. Let me actually change my fit because I don't like having the same fit in a different location. You know what I mean? So... What the fuck? Man, it doesn't even make fucking sense. It's almost like I bought this thinking I was gonna make a video and it ended up not working, so I have to use the suit somewhere, and I guess I used it here. So for the first movie here, right after the mid-movies, I'm gonna have to go with Hulk vs. Thor. Now, let me be honest, I like all of these movies. From good to like above, these are all great. And even the mid-movies I enjoy. But yeah, I really enjoyed Hulk vs. Thor. But at the same time, I feel like Thor kind of has the least to do in it. There is a lot that happens in that movie that's really cool, but at the same time, it feels like Thor, the protagonist, gets kind of the least amount to do. He's one of the victims of just being like, I guess I am the good guy in this story. He doesn't get something as interesting as, Bruce Banner and the Hulk and, their dilemma, and Bruce wants to stay in hell, essentially. There's really deep and rich stuff in this movie, but it feels like Thor is the one that has the least to bite on. He's just there to protect the realm, and that's cool, but that's just his duty. What he really wants is not, I think, explored enough. To be fair, it is a short movie. It is along with, Hulk vs. Wolverine. Hulk vs. Wolverine, by the way, is being treated as its own movie, and you will see it later on. So don't worry about that. So yeah, I think Hulk vs. Thor, it's good. It's just not as great as the other ones. And right after that, whoa, another Thor movie, Thor Tales of Asgard. And here's the thing, that one was not really my childhood. I have no nostalgia for this movie. I mean, I guess I'm nostalgic for the trailers, but yeah, I only recently watched it and I thought it was really good. It genuinely surprised me. It was just such a good movie. Yeah, I don't know how else to sum it up. It was just really good. The story was solid. Nothing out of this world, but nothing terrible either. I mean, other than I guess maybe being a little slow at times, the usual thing for these Marvel animated features. And this movie is like the opposite of Hulk vs. Thor, because in this movie, Thor gets so much to do. The character has so much to work with, and at the beginning of the movie, he's an asshole, and at the end of the movie, he's like honorable, and he understands his responsibility, and he understands that he can't just brute force his way through everything, and it's great. It's what I wish Tony Stark's journey was in Invincible Iron Man. I just checked and realized this suit looks so stupid, so I'm gonna take it off because I look so dumb. It's not even worth the bit. What if I just strip in front of you? Can you imagine that? So, next on the list, and this one is a big favorite of mine. This one is Hulk vs. I'm just kidding. No, but it's Doctor Strange. I love this movie. I am such a fan of this movie, and to be honest, here's my hot take, I guess. The next 4 movies that I'm gonna talk about, I feel could be switched around, and I would not complain. They are, to me, the best of the best. And I mean, which ones are the next ones, but let me go in the order that I chose them in. So Doctor Strange, fantastic movie. When I was little, I used to watch this one over and over, and this was one of those movies that even when I was little, I understood the ramifications of Stephen Strange's journey. I understood his dilemma, I understood his pain towards the loss of his sister, and I think there's so much that this movie does better compared to MCU Doctor Strange because I love Stephen Strange's journey in this movie. The training that he has to endure, amazing. And you feel like the rewards he's given for, doing good, for accomplishing his tasks. It's so great. It's genuinely such a fantastic film. And all the action sequences and all the magic too, I'm really glad that it isn't just relegated to glowy orange thing. Now, these next 2 are huge favorites of mine. This one can honestly be switched back and forth with the next one. I don't mind. The next one I chose is Next Avengers. Next Avengers, amazing. What a great flick. It's so cool to see the kids of the Avengers grow up and become the Next Avengers. Their dynamics are really fresh, they're all really entertaining and engaging, and you understand the stakes, the visual style of this movie, the character designs, how they light everything, amazing stuff. The visual development team knocked it out of the park. I have nothing bad to say about this movie visually. The only thing I feel is kinda lackluster is that the Hulk is the one that defeats Ultron at the end and not the Avengers, and I understand why. It makes sense because Ultron is kind of goated, but I wish that the Hulk helped and, you know, the team was the one that defeated the guy that killed their parents. But still, great stuff, and that means that the next movie, okay? It's Planet Hulk. I fucking loved this movie so much. There's just so much going on, and it influenced the fuck out of me when I was a kid. It was awesome. All these alien races coming together to fight in a gladiatorial arena, really cool. So much better than what Thor Ragnarok did, and I understand it didn't have enough time, but like also lock in, you know? Korg is awesome, Meek is awesome, Hulk in this movie is fucking awesome. Every single character stands out. They're all awesome. Red Lex Luthor is a great villain. How he dies is fucking sick, dude. And the only thing I don't buy is the romance aspect of the movie, and even that I can just go, it's not really focused on, so I don't care. And that's it. It's great. What a great fucking movie. Damn, dude, remember when there was so much Hulk stuff? Like everywhere? Dude, Marvel put this guy everywhere. He was the headliner of events, man. What happened? Anyways, now that that's done, you know what the last movie is. Get the heck over here. It's Hulk versus Wolverine. It's Hulk versus Wolverine. Did you ever have a doubt? Did you ever have a semblance of a doubt? It's peak. What a peak movie. Peak characters, peak story. It's short, but I don't give a fuck. It's awesome. 11 out of 10, 1000 out of 10. Fuck you.